thought you saw it.
Drivers, start your engines!
Ready. Green flag. All rolling. All the way out. Stay in. Come on. Bye-bye, on in. See you later. These guys are really good. Keep digging. Stay in the gas. Hang on, dude, baby. Did not hit a thing. Why you wait so long, man? Bottom clear, chasing you down here. White flag. Hit your mark.
How's it going, y'all? Welcome back to another wild and wacky Wednesday night of NWP. I'm your host this week, Eric Estep, joined by Jarrett Lundberg, aka the Iceberg, in his victorious Viking purple. Danny B, Daniel Baldwin, is down south of the border here, enjoying Illinois 300, it appears, according to his sweatshirt. Gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight? You enjoying the first official week of fall? I'm enjoying it, as you can tell by my studio decor. How you guys doing?
I'm better than last week. My voice is much better for sure. I still feel like I have some ear clogginess and mucus and all that good crap. They said it was an ear infection is what I was diagnosed with. I did go to the doctor after last week's show. So they said I had a good old ear infection. That's what's going on with Danny B, but I didn't let it dampen my spirits. I still enjoyed the only Tennessee football team worth watching on Saturday night.
Good stuff. Jarrett, we won't talk about Sunday. Instead, I will celebrate. I will celebrate my Astros winning their 7th division title in 8 years. They can't keep us down. They thought they had us 7-19. Our whole starting rotation was out for the season. Nope, not this year.
The
golden era continues.
I thought Sunday was a fun day.
I'm glad you had fun on Sunday, Jarrett. I'm really glad, but we're going to move on very quickly and rapidly from whatever happened on Sunday. Let's focus on Saturday night. Thank you all for being here. Our like goal tonight is 600. If we hit 600 likes on the stream, we will unlock Jarrett's Random Driver of the Week segment. So be sure to lick that like button. And we also get to the first Super Chat stage break at the top of the hour, but I want to kick off with a very generous Super Chat we got pre-show from Hunter Nixon Fishing, longtime viewer of the show. And this sort of kicks off, I think, the Bristol night race discussion. Their super chat says, I hate that new fans are going to have this judgment that Bristol is a bad racetrack. I'm convinced that no matter what package you put on this car or whatever Goodyear does, this car is fundamentally broken at short tracks. Band-Aid doesn't fix the underlying illness. Kind of a negative comment to start the show, but there wasn't a lot of positive to say after Saturday night's Bristol night race. Kyle Larson dominates, leading 462 laps. That's not really the problem. The problem is that the massive tire wear we saw and fell in love with in the spring was nowhere to be seen. And nobody seems to understand exactly why that is. Same track, same tire compound, same series, same car, same drivers, same race length. No tire wear, no tire fall, minimal tire fall, if I should say. Jarrett, let's start with Kyle Larson. I guess he deserves to be given his flowers out the gate here. He wins. He's locked into the round of 12. What'd you make of Larson stinking up the show?
Well, I'm going to lead off with this because I said it Saturday night on my post-race stream. I said it in my video, kind of about what we'll talk about in a bit, kind of what Larson was talking about. And I've said it on social media. Larson dominating that race was not why it was bad. And I don't know who's pushing that because maybe it's just I'm in my own little echo chamber and didn't see it, but that's not what I saw people complaining about with the race. That was like one of the maybe little things, but it was not like the major issue everybody was talking about. The only people I've seen talking about it are Kyle Larson and the media. And not even like the total media, just the media that we all know would always focus on bashing the fans. Kyle Larson deserves praise for this. That was a good old-fashioned ass whooping. If there weren't stage breaks, I'm pretty sure he would have lapped the field. And he deserves all of the flowers for that. I mean, what was it, 400? You said 462 out of 500 laps. I think it was like Almost 97% of the race he led. And then if you look at Hendrick Motorsports, I think when they add in the Alex Bowman totals, which, hang the banner, Alex Bowman led laps, it's like closer to 99%. It was absolute domination that should be respected. And I hope that, because we don't see this kind of ass whooping very often. Like, this reminded me of the Truex 600 win a couple years back, or like at this point, probably like almost 10 years back.
8 years ago. Isn't that crazy?
Holy Jesus, that was 8 years.
Wasn't it? It was 2016, or was it 17? Oh, it was one of those years. I think it was 16.
Either way, the chat will let us know. That, I mean, you don't see that kind of domination except for like once every 5 to 8, 10 years, give or take. So I respect it. I really respect it, and I thought it was impressive. Like, he was the only one out there that could legitimately pass whichever way he went.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we started with that. I know we kind of started negative. We'll get to the racing itself, but no, Kyle Larson does deserve his credit. I mean, he's all or nothing. 4 weeks ago, he dominated Darlington too. He led 260 laps there, ended up finishing like 4th or something like that, but was really good. And then mistakes at Atlanta, pit road penalty at Watkins Glen, sort of a couple of quiet weeks, but here he is bursting back onto the scene. I won't say this was a statement win because we all knew he was capable of this. We've seen glimpses of it over the past few years. Go back to even 2021, pre-next gen. Kyle Larson, Cliff Daniels, they dominate races unlike anyone else in the field nowadays. This was just a reminder. Best driver in the world, maybe, maybe not. A lot of folks joke in the past few weeks after some recent crashes. This was a reminder that, yes, Larson deserves to be in that discussion because when he is fully locked in, fully focused, no mistakes, he is so damn fast. Damn fast.
I'll put it like this, too. This is the second most wins he's had in a season ever. He had 4.
I don't know if he's ever going to top 2021. That was just incredible.
I don't think he'll get 10, especially with like NASCAR trying to make it impossible for him to repeat that. But he had 4 in 2017, and he had 4 last year. He's already bested that. He's already bested the amount of laps led in every other year, but 2021. He has led 1,550. I had to read that to make sure I was right.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought he was right around 1,000, but I guess if you lead 400 plus laps at Bristol, you're gonna shatter the ceiling.
I mean, it's impressive, and it's this thing. I can't say he's the favorite simply because I can't say anyone's the favorite until I know they're in Phoenix, and I've made that mistake too many damn times. I'm not gonna make it again. I'm gonna wait until he locks in. I think he is. Yeah. The best one left by a wide margin. I think if he makes it to Phoenix, he should be the favorite, but I am not going to say he's the favorite until the fat lady sings.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this before. People can look so good in the first round and then fall off. I mean, look at Harvick in 2020, and then you got guys who might have looked horrible in this first round, and they're going to be in the championship four somehow, like a Denny Hamlin might end up getting there.
It's an even year.
Joey Logano. You got guys like Alex Bowman had probably the greatest first round I think he has ever had in a playoff, but because of where the playoff points and bonus points really stack up, he comes in the next round second to last because that's just where he is, and that might screw him over the entire time.
Yeah, no, I mean, to your point, Jarrett, it was a reminder of how fast, how great, how dominant Kyle Larson can be. He's not this every week. He makes mistakes. That's the thing. You take the good with the bad with Kyle Larson. So no, I wouldn't consider him a championship favorite. I still think he's at best the third best championship favorite right now. Like, I don't think I'd even put him top 2. I think I'd still take Bell and Blaney over him. Bell because he's so good at Phoenix. Blaney, same thing. He's also been there, done that. Both have a lot of playoff points. But Larson, for sure. If Larson shows up with a good car, watch out because he can lead 90% of the laps and make the rest of the field look foolish. I think 10 cars finished on the lead lap Saturday night. To your point, Jarrett, get rid of stage yellows. He laps the field more than likely. Only really a couple of cautions for incident. You had Logano crash. You had in lap like 5, you had John Hunter Nemechek. Corey LaJoie spun out later on. Not many cautions for incident, which has led to a lot of debate this week around short track racing. Is it dying? Can Bristol be restored to its former glory? What happened to the tire fall off we saw in the spring? Nobody seems to have a clear answer. Everyone's venting about it. Everyone has a take. but nobody really has anything constructive to say, myself included. I don't really know what to say because I'm no scientist, I'm no engineer. I can't wrap my head around why the racing looks so different month to month, week to week. But what I do know and what everyone is able to say and see is that the racing Saturday night was not satisfactory. Danny, I know you've grown up going to Bristol races. You just said before the show your dad was in the stands, and I think he said he left early. Like, I
No,
mean,
he didn't leave early, but it felt like he did because the race just got
oh,
over
it just
so
ended so
early.
quick.
It was
Yeah.
mercifully short, at least.
Yeah, at least. I mean, I'll start with you, Danny. What did you make of the actual racing product, and how do you think this could impact Bristol's standing amongst NASCAR fans going forward if they don't fix it, they don't get it consistently right?
So, okay, first of all, I watched the majority of this race through my NASCAR app, and I think I said this in one of Jarrett's replies on a tweet. I feel like I didn't miss anything by just looking at it mainly through that. I would check in every now and again during halftime or during commercials of Tennessee game. And what I was saying, it just felt like this is this was kind of one of those boring Bristol races. I feel like we started to see somewhere between 2010 2012 was kind of an outlier, but like there was a period there in the late 2000s, early 2010s where I feel like it was just one groove, Bristol, kind of boring and pretty predictable on what would happen. That's kind of how this race felt to me. What little bit of it I did see, and of course Kyle Larson just dominating the whole time. You don't see those traditional like Bristol incidents and crashes. I went to the Spring Bristol race earlier this year. Obviously, wasn't there this time, and I think I chose the right race to go to because Spring Bristol race kicked this race's butt in terms of a entertainment product for one thing.
Oh, I mean, the thing that I hate about this race in particular is that it followed up that spring race, because that spring race, we all knew it was an anomaly, but I think
it set an unreachable bar.
I think everyone, we got hope. That's the thing. We got hope because if you look at the short track races in this era from 2022 on, okay, yeah, the Hail Melon, that was fun and all. Does anyone remember what the hell happened? Like the 485 laps before the finish? No one remembers that. Eric and I both froze our asses off at the race before that there. It sucked. The Martinsville has been at best below average. If you look at Bristol, which doesn't have the short track package, which again, to me, only further proves it's a car issue because the package was specifically not taken to this track because it was so bad and it still sucked. And then Richmond, I'm sorry, Richmond's the best short track right now. And that's scary to say. Consistency wise, Richmond at least will give you a nice fuel mileage race at the end. Richmond at least will have some passing go on and you can have mobility. And I even said that, like, after the race, is like, I don't even need them to be passing like the spring. Kyle Larson was right. That was one thing I really agreed with him on, is that the Bristol never had all of that passing that everyone seems to think it had. I don't need it to. I am fine being on the hill that I love old Bristol. I'm fine with bumping people out of the way, Bristol coming back. But Bristol never was easy to pass even then. So I just need mobility. The ability to get by people when I don't need, oh, there goes the Arby's car I just passed, to be a pick so that I can get past somebody. That's all I want.
Yeah, I feel like right now, even then, you can't even properly pull off a bump and run. Like, that used to be the thing. Like, oh, Jeff Gordon's got to bump Rusty Wallace to take the lead. Now I feel like someone could literally bump someone and they'll just have like a halfway decent battle come down to the stretch and then get back out in front and be no problem.
It's too hard to even pull up close enough to someone's rear bumper to,
you can't even get there,
to be able to like make a clean bump and run. You're just going to end up pulling an Austin Dillon at Richmond and driving through them if you're not careful. You can't judge it.
You can't even really bump them out of the way it is because these cars don't have. They have too much. It's the way kind of Dale Jr. put it, and I think Dale Jr. went a little too far with it. Like, he's in the whole, the sky is falling, Chicken Little phase of it. And I don't think we're that far yet. I get his sentiment.
Did you see the crowd though? I mean, this was reportedly the biggest Bristol crowd in 15 years. Some have projected.
Yeah, around 125 to 5,000, give or
Will
take.
the spring race at that number next year? No.
No.
Will next year's fall race at that number? Probably not, because you're not delivering a consistent product. But to suggest that short track racing is on its last dying breath, I think is a little hyperbolic. But you're right. Dale Jr.'s right. Kyle Larson's right. A lot of folks are right about this being a car problem more than a tire problem. NASCAR has asked Goodyear to try and bail them out and fix this car that was poorly designed for short track racing, and Goodyear's proven they can't do it, at least not consistently. Goodyear doesn't even know how the spring race happened.
They made too good of tires. That's good for their business. That's not good for us.
Yeah, there's conflicting interests, and if you listen to Denny Hamlin's podcast this week, it sounds like Goodyear, even if they wanted to design exactly what NASCAR wanted, I'm not sure they're capable of it. It doesn't sound like their process is as clean cut as it should be. Their quality control is not up to the standard it should be. So it's just tough. It's tough all around. It all goes back to the car, and where do you do? We're stuck with this car for at least a few years.
Let's think that they've tried aero, they've tried tires, they've tried everything internally with it except the horsepower. Give it a shot. If it doesn't work, at least you'll shut us fans up for a bit about it.
Yeah.
Take that as your like silver lining in this. There's got to be something, because I'm sorry, I'm not going to go, like I said, I'm not going to go the Chicken Little route of being like the sky is falling, it's the end is nigh. Because short track fans and NASCAR fans are completely different. But at the same time, this cannot be our bread and butter tracks in NASCAR. The tracks that have given us some of the biggest moments and created some of the greatest rivalries cannot just be snooze fest that we look over. They're already some of the least watched races statistically every year. This race, I think, of the planned races that ran scheduled, is like the second least watched, and it still went up this year. The only reason that it's not the least watched again is because a road course came right before it.
I think it's the only race back-to-back years to be under a 1 rating, like less than a 1.0, that went off on its scheduled distance. So to your point, nobody watches, the casual fan does not watch short tracks. Let me phrase it that way.
Yeah, but they fixed the intermediates. The super speedway, because I listened to what Dale Jr. said. I don't think the super speedways suck as much as he says they do. I think that Dale is kind of one of those people, just like the rest of us at times, who get stuck in 2004 or 3. Like, great stuff, not as good as the end of the Gen 6. I don't think that's necessarily a problem as long as you fix like the fuel mileage stuff. It's that mile and down. It's not even necessarily short tracks. I mean,
yeah, it's just short ovals.
Dover. Look at Dover this past year. We had the same issues, and that is a faster track that is more aero dependent. It's an intermediate track. Like, the shortest track that this car can run good at is Darlington, and that's a mile and a third. Nashville, mile and a third, but it races like a mile and a half. Like, the only track that's under a mile and a half that I think this car consistently runs good at is Darlington. And it's nothing like a mile and a half. That's the only one. The rest of them, like New Hampshire this year, I saw a lot of people like, that was amazing. It's like, yeah, it's not going to monsoon right before we race every year, knock on wood. I'm frustrated with it, because like, this is your favorite track, Eric. Danny, I'm assuming it's probably your favorite track. You've grown up watching this. Martinsville is my favorite track.
I mean, Bristol's always special with me. I got engaged there, so I love Bristol.
Like, and for diehard fans, this cannot be the standard. It just can't, because if we're just gonna have boring races that we can just skip over at different points,
I mean, I'll put it like
what's gonna happen?
I haven't really said this a whole lot. I'm probably gonna cut back more, even so than I did this year. I only went to 4 races this year. I'm gonna cut back the next few years of races I go to. And Bristol might not make the cut, especially if I want to go to just check off other tracks and stuff. I might not waste time going to Bristol.
I'll say this. The only reason I would go to Bristol at this point, or Martinsville even too, because the thing is, if it's like the spring, I'd go, but I don't know. Like, it's just Pandora's box of what it will be. The only reason I would go is like 2 reasons. 1, if I had a reason to be there, or 2, if like we all went as a group and had like a big meetup or something, and I had a reason to be there outside of the racing. Like, even Xfinity this weekend though wasn't good, but the reason we're not complaining about Xfinity and even trucks is because those were anomalies. Like, this is the standard for next gen.
And like, I feel so bad because in terms of just a venue experience as a race fan, Bristol and Martinsville are fantastic venues in terms of what they offer you, your view. but NASCAR is now making it an experience I don't want to go to because of the on-track product, and that's a horrible thing to admit, but it's the sad truth. I don't want to go to Bristol. I don't want to go to Martinsville right now until they fix this.
And Eric, you mentioned it too. Like NASCAR's basically asking Goodyear to bail them out of the problem they created, and at least publicly will take no accountability for making this mess. I wish that we weren't in a position where we have to slash costs for everything, even though based on what all the owners and drivers that are vocal about it have said, it hasn't done jack squat. But I would be fine going back to the Gen 6 for mile on down tracks. I'd be fine with it at this point until they can figure out what the hell to do with this car. I do not want to sit through another 5 to 8 years of Saturday night. I don't want to. And I know some people liked it. Good on them. I wish I liked it like that.
It's just tough because what you're proposing just isn't realistic, unfortunately. I think it's going to be the next gen car 38 weeks a year. So you have to ask Goodyear to fix the tires, to make the tires better. Goodyear's going to shoulder the blame when it goes bad. They're going to sing their praises when it accidentally goes well, but the goes wells are few and far between. And so that's tough. It's tough to have this conversation because, I mean, Martinsville's supposed to have a softer left side tire in a few weeks. Denny Hamlin on his podcast sounded optimistic about that. But until we see it in action, I don't trust Goodyear. They're wrong about their Watkins Glen projections. They were so wrong about their Bristol night race projections. The option tire at Richmond was decent. At North Wilkesboro, it did nothing. So I don't really know what to feel. I feel I can't trust Goodyear. I wish I could blame them for that, but I can't because they're being asked to do a nearly impossible task.
Only so soft they can go with it until you have an Indianapolis 08. Like there's only so far.
There is a fine line. Exactly. There's obviously a fine line. So that's what I mean. Like there's some things you can blame Goodyear for. They clearly don't run a tight enough ship. They're way off on their data and projections. That's on them. But it shouldn't be on them to fix the racing solely. And so I can't blame them fully for Bristol, but I think it's fair to express some frustration that their projections are almost always wrong. Like, how are you this wrong every single week? That gets old.
You know, something that's got me thinking, I saw my wife pointed out in the chat that we've been to Bristol at least one time every year since 2016, which got me thinking, if I go to that baseball game, can that count instead? Because I want to know the ticket numbers for next year. I almost wonder if that baseball game will sell more tickets than both races combined next year.
I mean, I think they're having like a quarter of the stands is going to be boxed off, so that would hamper it. But
they'll all be packed in though, not spaced out like the race though.
I bet it'll sell out. I mean,
Atlanta Braves travel well, maybe.
Well, they represent a whole damn region. You know, that's like the South's team. But yeah, I'm frustrated, and I'm like, I hate saying it. I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I guess
it's just frustrating because at this point, there's no quick solution. Even horsepower, it sounds like there would be more changes that need to be made to the car than just swapping out the restrictor plate or whatever it's called, the tapered spacer. So it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating that we've backed ourselves into a corner. But
tell you what, if they don't get it fixed and a few things go right in the local area, I would not be surprised they lose one of their dates to a fairgrounds expansion.
I've been saying forever one of the dates belongs to Nashville.
But after spring, everyone's like, "There's no way." After what happened, if we can replicate that or just be close, like Bristol has to stay. Look at the crowd in this spring; it was like 80,000.
It's gonna be a one-off, I think.
It is, and that's what sucks. And we all knew it, but sorry. We can move on to the next thing because we're just going to get more and more frustrated as we go.
It's like I said at the beginning. It's all we can do at this point is just vent because there is no obvious solution that's cost effective and feasible in a short amount of time. So we're all just going to vent, and it's good. It's cathartic, but like you said, Jared, it's probably time to move on. Kansas this weekend. The car is suited very well for Kansas, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll talk about that though.
Did you know we had the closest finish in NASCAR?
No,
we did.
I didn't.
I'm not even going to laugh at it because it was actually a pretty epic moment. Yeah,
it's technically a 3-wide finish.
I'm just saying it now because they're going to stress that how many times this weekend at Kansas.
I've already seen NASCAR posting a Joey Logano, Matt Kenseth, Martinsville highlight clip, and we're going to Kansas. It's not even Martinsville week. Ugh, brutal.
You sound like Tony Romo. It's like, oh my God, look at that, Jim. It's the Joey Logano Kansas thing. Oh my God, Jim, Patrick Mahomes.
The NASCAR should be fined for actions detrimental to Matt Kenseth fans for how they've somehow painted this narrative that Kansas is the only reason Matt Kenseth wrecked Joey Logano Martin. Anyway, not to get off on a tangent, it was far from just that one moment at Kansas that led to it. Anyway, let's focus back on Bristol. Besides the sloppy racing, there were some major playoff implications. Things did happen Saturday night. Half of Joe Gibbs Racing has been eliminated from the playoffs. Martin Truex Jr. and Ty Gibbs both needed to run top five at least and earn stage points to advance. They both ran into trouble on pit road. Speeding penalties for both. Should we start? Let's start with Ty Gibbs. In just so many words, Danny, sophomore season, how do you think he did? Should he be proud of what he accomplished this year?
I mean, there were some expectations that he could maybe be a contender for a race win or something like that. A lot of people thought maybe he could contend for this win, but he was kind of just a non-factor this weekend, sadly. Um, I don't think he can be disappointed. I mean, he still made the playoffs in a year where we found out there was going to be a ton of random winners, and it was more important than ever to be as consistently high in the points as he possibly could be, and he did exactly that. He was better than some talented drivers like Chris Buescher, who's won a race since the playoffs started. He was more talented, or not more talented. I don't want to say it like that. He was better in points than Bubba Wallace. He was better in points than guys that ended up making the playoffs, like Chase Briscoe. Because he got in because of his win. So there's a lot of good drivers that he did better than in the sophomore season. So I don't think he should be disappointed in that at all. I do think it's rather sad for Martin Truex Jr. though that what we now know is his final full-time season. It goes out like this. So that's definitely not what they were looking for at all.
Yeah, just mistakes. And in the case of Martin Truex Jr., I think that is probably the bigger story. Ty Gibbs, solid season. You want him to get that first win, but I think I said this earlier in the week. Chase Elliott took 3 years almost to win. I think William Byron took almost 3 years to finally win. Didn't Eric Jones take close to 3 years?
3 years to win. And
Year and a half.
All the greats take 3 years, like Harrison Burton.
Yeah, of course. I think he's gonna be fine. He showed promise this year. But no, Danny, you transition there to Martin Truex Jr. That's the bigger story. Championship caliber driver. At one point early in the season, I think we all would have penciled him into our championship fours. But I think most of us had him out in the first round for good reason. They had no momentum coming into these playoffs. Truex seemed to have one eye on retirement already, and he gets eliminated. Just lack of focus. I think lack of focus knocked him out early at Darlington in the finale, almost cost him a playoff spot, and a lack of focus cost him on pit road late at Bristol. Jarrett, what do you make of Truex getting bounced early this year?
Not surprised. I mean, he was in my picks for that, and
Yep.
I just keep pulling it up, and he has not had a finish above 20th since Pocono.
Yeah, it's been awful.
That team, they're having I believe Briscoe jump on into that car next year, and Briscoe's outran that team, and not even when he was running good, just in general. I'm pretty sure that Chase Briscoe and the 14 team have outran the 19 team. It was interesting. There was people talking about on social media, a few of the media people saying that James Small and some JGR top officials were getting into a bit of a shouting match and really upset. Just saying, I would not be surprised if the 19 team has a new crew chief next year.
Yeah, I knew we were going to maybe talk about this later in the show, but let's talk about it now. James Small, this was brought up, I saw first by Kevin Harvick on the Happy Hour podcast, but there was that awkward clip of that Truex crew member, sort of awkwardly blocking the camera. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, what's going on here? And then after hearing Harvick's comments, you realize, oh, I think they were trying to divert our attention away from James Small expressing his frustration with Gibbs. I know a lot of Truex fans out there are not James Small fans. He's not Cole Pern, I suppose. That's tough. That's true.
Or you ever
That's
going to
fair.
follow him up? I mean, that is the biggest weight on your shoulder you possibly have.
Exactly. But at the same time, I think James Small has every right to be upset. Martin Truex Jr., I feel, and I don't know this for a fact, but I feel like based on what other drivers have said, Truex isn't the kind of guy to put in a lot of extra work during the week, especially not at this stage in his career. He shows up to the track, and he's been doing this long enough, is naturally gifted that he can just go fast. He knows the tracks, even this car, he gets it, and he's good. But I think there comes a point, especially at a certain age, especially if you're even less focused, more focused on retirement, that you can't compete. I feel bad for James Small because he's had the last several months of his work basically taken for granted because Truex is not focused. I do think I think this is 100% on Martin Truex Jr. I don't think the cars were bad. I don't think the team was letting him down. Parts weren't even breaking these playoffs. Truex just has not been focused the last few weeks. So I get why James Small would be a little frustrated.
I get partly, but I mean, they've had they had a blip up last year before the playoffs, but in general, James Small and Truex as a pairing got progressively worse. If you look at the statistics
That's true.
they got progressively worse. They got more chippy and more angry at each other. Like I can put the majority on Truex, so I do think he checked out. But the thing is, I don't blame him for checking out when there clearly were issues that never got resolved. Like, and he spent the last few years of his career, in my opinion, wasted with somebody that he just did not have good enough chemistry with.
I get that, but I mean, they won the regular season title last year. Their first
And then
year
what
together.
happened? But then what happened?
Yeah, they crumbled over those last 10 weeks, but I think everyone shares in the blame for that. I think to put all that on James Small would be unfair as well. I think these last few weeks in particular, it's been clearly Truex. It feels like he threw in the towel. And, if he's that disturbed that he would be paired with a less than quality crew chief and James Small, it's like, okay, get over yourself. I mean, Eric Jones had Ty Gibbs and Eric Jones dealt with Chris Gale for the last few years. I think James Small, who worked under Cole Pearn for X number of years, is pretty damn qualified for the role he currently is in.
Lance McGrew worked under Chad Canals, and that didn't work well.
That's true. I guess that's true. But
I'm not saying it's fully. I'm not even saying it is like majority, but James Small shares, I think, a little more than 0% of the blame for both the playoffs over and regular season.
The last 6 weeks, it's 100% Truex is what I'm saying. But I'm saying, yes, overall, you're correct that they've gotten slowly worse over time. 2021, they should have won a championship. James Small and Martin Truex Jr. were in position to win the championship, and then that late caution happens and they got beat on pit road. That wasn't on Truex or James Small. That was, I guess, on the pit crew and just bad timing. So my point is, James Small is not Cole Pearn, obviously. Their chemistry has gotten worse, but the last 6 weeks, Truex is checked out. Like, that's how it feels. And so I get his frustration. Your first question, though, I think you asked the question, will James Small be on the 19 next year? I don't know. He was at Chase Briscoe's press conference. He was on the stage, sounded really confident.
Yeah, but also Corey LaJoy was talking about how excited he was to be working with crew chief next year.
It's true. He wasn't on the stage, though.
Is Richard Boswell still available? Because him and Briscoe have put up a little more chemistry with, I would say, way lesser equipment and a lesser situation.
And they won. I mean, they worked together in his Xfinity years. That year, he won 9 races. That was all Boswell and Briscoe. So, I mean, I would be hesitant to split them up. I agree. I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing. I think James Small is fine. I don't think he's amazing. He's obviously not as good as Cole Pearn, but in this moment, I feel for him. Like, you probably shouldn't express your frustration in a public setting like that, where there could be cameras and media around. But I get his frustration. I think it is valid.
If they keep James Small there, who has a tighter leash? Chase Briscoe or James Small if that team underperforms?
Small. And I think it's kind of to give kind of a stick and ball reference, since we're in the season, it's like if coach gets a new quarterback, at that point the referendum's on the coach. And I think that when a crew chief gets a new driver, I think the referendum is on the crew chief. Whereas if it was a driver getting a new crew chief, then it's like, okay, we changed this up. Now it's on you, driver. I think that's
exactly.
Who it's on.
And we have a history now of Boswell and Briscoe working together well and winning in the past, making now a semi-deep run into the playoffs. We know Briscoe is not necessarily the problem, so that would definitely look bad if they come out the gates next year slow on James Small. But that's an interesting conversation. I'm glad we actually had that early on. I think that made better sense. A couple other playoff notables to mention, really just Daniel Suarez. He entered this race plus 36, limps into the round of 12. I think he finished 31st, 4 laps down. Was not a factor. He got lapped 60 laps in. Like they just didn't bring it.
I think we kind of talked about this. Bristol was the only racetrack that really concerned us because we knew he's a decent road course racer. He obviously won Atlanta, so this was the only one that really on paper looked like to be his hard one. So
yeah, this round went exactly, I think, as pretty much everyone expected for Daniel Suarez, except he snuck in. I mean, I had him through the round of 12, but some people didn't.
It wasn't exactly how we all expected, but we knew his ceiling was good Atlanta, good Watkins Glen, bad Bristol.
I'm just saying this played out about like most people would expect. Pretty good at Atlanta. He turned out to be very good at Atlanta. Pretty good at Watkins Glen. That is what happened, but the rest of the playoff field crapped the bed. Uh, Bad at Bristol. That also happened. So I feel like Daniel Suarez had the most predictable round of 16 outside of maybe Kyle Larson, who was checkers or wreckers.
36-point gap, and he needed almost every single one of those 36 points.
And that's despite Truex speeding on pit road, Gibbs speeding on pit road. Like, they made his life a little less stressful by making self-inflicted mistakes.
And it goes back to the Bristol talk that we had earlier. Is like, I think it took Ty Gibbs, because I think he had a 5th to 7th place car in this race personally.
Mm-hmm.
And it took him like 300 laps to get back to the top 10. And all he had to do was pass, especially after caution stuff. I think all he had to do was pass like 10 cars, and it took 300 laps to do so. Like, I saw other people complaining about the Truex thing, being like, NASCAR's really going to talk about a minuscule 0.09 miles an hour. I'm like, that's added to the 5% or 5 mile an hour buffer they have. Like, it's a black and white call, guys.
Yeah, it's we asked for black and white rules. This is the most black and white rule that's been in place for years and years and years now. I feel like
the computer lied.
Yeah. Bristol is tough though because of the way the pit road curves. Depending on the angle you take, could mess up your lights. So but those are just lack of focus, if you ask me. I think in Gibbs's case, it was a lack of experience, perhaps. Truex, I think a lack of focus. Certainly not a lack of experience there. A couple of non-playoff drivers worth shouting out. Bubba Wallace finished 3rd. I think I saw that's his best finish of the season. Is that true?
I can check.
I know he has a few top 5s this year. I think this is now a career high in top 5s in a single season, but it's been a lot of 4ths and 5ths. This is his best finish of the year, 3rd. Good for him, I guess. Good for him. Better late than never. Well, I guess, yeah, still better late than never, but we'd like to have it a few weeks ago.
The question I got for him is like, the way things are shaping up, is he even going to, like, is there a possibility he won't race this weekend? Like, with all the momentum. His wife is like about to burst, and
I was like, what are we talking about?
I'm just saying, like, he has all that momentum, and I would not blame him for getting out of the car, but it's like,
no,
wife with that baby, he's not in the playoffs. That should come first, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it would either way. Like, I'll say this: I would judge any driver who would choose to race over the birth of their child. I'd judge them as a person.
Nah, racing's a way of life.
Hey,
kid will get it. He'll grow up and understand.
Side note,
Dad wasn't there from the start.
Side note, I'm going to give Bubba a shout out for the video that he posted. I think his wife filmed, or his PR person probably filmed it. After he got out of the car, had a great finish. He's a Tennessee Vols fan. His wife shows him the score of the game. He's like, that's right, go Vols, cover the spread. I thought that was pretty cool.
I thought the cooler one was the fact that even though she's like any moment now, and she was like hitting golf balls at Top Golf like last night.
Gotta
like,
stay loose.
Damn. Good on you. Like, I can't hit it that well, and I'm just a noob. But good on him. Good on him for the good run. And Priest too.
Someone asked if this is Bubba's first kid or second. It's his first kid though.
Inspirational Priest.
7th place for Priest. 3 Stewart-Haas cars finished inside the top 12, including Chase Briscoe in 8th, who we'll talk about a turnaround. -21 after Atlanta, was +6 after Watkins Glen, finished 6th in that race. Best finishing playoff driver. Weren't sure about Bristol. Could go either way. It ends up going extremely well. He earns points in the stages, finishes top 10. Let's take a look at the Cup Series playoff grid after the round of 16. Now 12 remain. Jared has a graphic, I believe, for our viewing audience. Kyle Larson resets +39. Whew, he earned 7 playoff points at Bristol alone to add to his lead. Christopher Bell is +24. Tyler Reddick is +20. Byron +14. Another driver we didn't mention much because he didn't do much at Bristol, but he scoots on in here. Blaney, the defending champ, is +11. Denny Hamlin, he survives, +7. Did what he needed to do. We all expected him to run top 5. Barring any major issue, he would be moving on. He got the job done. The dog stays. Chase Elliott +6. Joey Logano +4. And then the bottom feeders. Cindric is 4 points out. Suarez -6. Bowman -7. And Chase Briscoe, man, after an incredible first round, also 7 points out. So Bowman, Briscoe, going to have to do it again. Suarez, too. They're going to have to do it again. Can lightning strike twice?
Hot take. I'm gonna start off with a little hot take here. Alex Bowman he outside of Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman is for me the biggest lock. This round is perfect for him.
This round is great for him.
I mean,
yeah.
He is good at he's good at the Roval.
Well, so
He's never finished worse than 10th at the Roval.
So let me find where I put it. I have some numbers for you here. So not the greatest at 1.5 miles, though still his last 2 finishes at 1.5 miles, 9th and 7th, and 7th in spring.
Yeah, he's going to be 7th at Kansas in the spring. So
he is the best of the remaining playoff drivers at super speedways and at road courses. Average finish wise, 9.5 at road courses, 11.0 at super speedways. He's gotten 2 top 5s at road courses here. Like, this is perfect.
No, I like it. This round is good.
He won a road course. He was good at Coda. He was good at Atlanta. He finished 2nd at Daytona 500.
That's the thing is, like, the finish holding him down average wise right now at super speedways is Atlanta. Other than that, it's 16th at Daytona's the worst, and it's 3 top 5s. Like, the guy is just on it this year.
And plus, like, I think he finished 9th last weekend at Bristol. So yeah, that's not good when you get the pole, but I mean, he still got the pole and he still ran top 10 all day. That's got to be some momentum coming his way.
Stage points too.
Yep, exactly. Earning stage points. Yeah, Alex Bowman, you beat me to it, Jarrett, but I would have said very much the same thing. Of those bottom 4, Alex Bowman has the best shot of breaking into the round of 8. He has a ton of momentum right now. That team has found something.
So I think we're all kind of agreeing. Of the 4 outside, we think he's most likely to get in. Who is most likely to then be replaced by him?
Denny Hamlin. I'm going Denny.
I think it's between William Byron or Joey Logano.
Yeah, so, I'm actually going to say Byron slips out in this round.
So I'm going to pull this one up too. So Denny's great at the 1.5 miles so far this year. He outside of a 30th place run at Texas where he was running for the win, he's been top 10. 5th best average of all of them. Kansas, to me, that's the make or break. He's the worst driver this year of the remaining 12, both at super speedways and road courses. 28th place average at super speedways this year. He's been atrocious.
Yeah, well, he's not going to employ that uber conservative Atlanta strategy once again.
His best finish, Atlanta was like right in the middle. That's the mean. His finishes are 24th, 38th, 37th, 23rd, 19th. He's been bad this year. He's been caught up in accidents. Road courses, other than a 14th, I believe, at Coda, it's been 23rd, 30th, 38th. He has a 26th place average. Like, I think he's good enough to turn it around, but based on how he's been this year, like, statistically speaking, Denny Hamlin's the odd one out.
Actually, I changed my vote. It's not Byron. I'm actually going to say Logano on this one now that I think about it.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin is, I think he's going to be very good at Kansas this weekend. I expect him to run top 5, earn a lot of stage points, potentially contend for the win. I think Talladega's all or nothing, but I think odds are in his favor. He will run top 20 or finish top 20 there. He's due to not get caught up in a wreck. And while, his road course numbers haven't been great, they're also somewhat bogged down by that blown engine on lap 2 of Sonoma. I think Denny's a little better at both Talladega and the Roval than this season's numbers show. William Byron, I just can't stand the inconsistency from this team. I don't know what to expect week in, week out. Bristol, man, they almost let that one slip through their fingers. I don't know what to expect. They haven't won a single stage since May. And I looked this up the other day. Stat sticks out in my head. They've led 25 laps since May. Alex Bowman led twice that in the round of 16. Like, all of a sudden, William Byron is the 4th Hendrick driver.
It seems like every year Byron will do this where he'll start off so hot at the start, go mid all summer, and then just like muscles come out of nowhere and he's ready to fight you. But now it's like, he's just like, I'm still mid right now.
I'm not going to underestimate him, though, because I think if you look at him, historically, he's been pretty good at a lot of these tracks.
I mean, honestly, you can't underestimate any Hendrick car because it's a Hendrick car. So.
I could realistically see all 4 Hendrick cars making it to the next round. I can realistically see that happening. I think Chase Elliott. See, to me, Chase Elliott is like the litmus test for me. If you're better than Chase Elliott, you're for sure a championship contending guy that I expect it to run for the Final 4. If you're not as good as Chase Elliott, you're probably a pretender right now, unless you're William Byron, really, because Hendrick power, history of turning it on towards the end of the season. Like for me, Elliott is the one that like I'm waiting for him to break out. Like I think Elliott is a contender, but I need him to get the finish or the win or just something to validate it for me.
He wants Texas to have every race for the rest of the season.
Bristol was his best run in a long time. I mean, he ran second. I think he had a really good car. Just not as good as his teammates. I don't know. I feel if I could see all 4 Hendrick cars getting through, I could also very easily see at least 3 of them going home this round because Chase Elliott has not shown winning speed consistently all year. Byron hasn't shown it in months. And Alex Bowman, I mean, do we think the round of 16 was a fluke? It very well could have been. It's unlikely, but it could be.
Bowman just doesn't get eliminated around 16. He just proved that his whole career so far.
That is true. That is true.
The crazy thing for me is like Chase Elliott, he's been one of the top guys at every type. He's the best driver this year at mile and a halves. He averages
Chase Elliott?
Yep, 5.8 average. Now, granted, there's been 4 mile and a halves this year, but 12th win,
can we look
3rd,
at like
7th.
Can we look at like average running position or laps led? Because I don't think outside of Texas, where there was like 6 guys who crashed from the lead, I don't think of Chase Elliott as being a true contender. He was contending
for the win at the end of the Kansas race too. He was basically 3 wide with Buscher and Larson.
Yeah,
he was right.
I guess that's true. He was in that picture. Okay.
He outside of I believe Larson and Hamlin, he's also the best at average wise. Him and Bowman both are. He's top 3 at road courses this year. He's top 6 at super speedways.
It's just because he has 1 DNF. That's like I think on one hand that makes Chase Elliott look good and gives me confidence he will move through this round because he's not going to make a big mistake and take himself out unless Talladega bites him. But it also sort of inflates some of his other stats because he's got a lot of like 6th place to 8th place finishes. Which if he does that every race this round, he's good. But if he goes 8th at Kansas, but then gets caught up in a wreck at Talladega, I'm sorry, 8th place at the Roval's probably not going to cut it. That's the problem. That's why I'm like kind of lukewarm on Chase Elliott, and that's kind of how I feel about William Byron as well.
I'm more, like I said, I'm more of a believer on Elliott than Byron right now.
I agree,
but I'm almost all in on Elliott. I'm like 1 foot on the platform, 1 foot on the train with Byron. Anyone who gets that reference, you're awesome.
I had both Elliott and Byron through to the round of 8 when I initially made my playoff predictions. I'd keep Elliott there. I'm very tempted to take Byron out and replace him with Bowman. That's the main change I would make from a few weeks ago to now. But anyway, we're going to talk Kansas in a little bit. We've still got a couple other Bristol things to tidy up on here. First, the TV ratings. The Bristol night race got a 0.98 rating, 1.86 million viewers on USA Network. That's a 10% increase in ratings and a 20% increase in viewership over last year. It's the most watched Bristol night race in 3 years. So that, I guess, is something. The Xfinity race, we'll talk about that in a moment. First race on the CW, 900,000 viewers. That's the highest for the CW in 8 months, according to Adam Stern, but down 9% from this race in 2023, which was on USA Network. It is up, however, from 2022, just worth noting, up 36%. I don't remember that race. Was it rain shortened or something? What happened there?
Dale Jr. list, I think.
That would explain it. We talked about this earlier, but many have estimated the Bristol night race crowd was in the 125,000 plus range, which would make it the largest Bristol crowd in 15 years. Wish they'd gotten to see a more competitive show. That's all.
They thought they were saying what they saw in the spring.
I know.
Because I think that was a big reason my dad even got tickets to the fall because he was there in the spring and wanted to see that again.
Yeah, I think that's a direction that NASCAR and Goodyear should push. I think the tickets, people vote with their money, and I think people voted for more tire wear, lots of passing, and if Goodyear can't deliver that, then it's one of these days NASCAR is going to have to really take a big swing with the next gen, and hopefully that day comes sooner rather than later. The poll, the famous iceberg poll, I guess, should I read the results? 12,000 of y'all voted on Jarrett's poll immediately following the race. 10% of y'all said the night race was a great race. 21% said it was good. 39% said it was mid. 17% of y'all voted below average, and 13% said it was a bad race. So 31% net positive, 30% net negative, a lot of average votes in there. That's honestly one of the more positive reviews, I guess, of the Bristol night race I've seen this week. But yeah, what did some of the comments say?
Well, the first one's from Tank Slapper. So positive, negative, meme, mix of it. What?
Probably negative.
Before. I'm going to say meme on that one.
Negative.
Suarez is so lucky Chris Buescher lost Kansas by 1/1000th of a second. Chris would have advanced, and Ty Gibbs wouldn't have been in the playoffs. He would be out. The butterfly effect is real right now. Suarez's season has hinged on a grand total of 4/1000ths of a second.
That's pretty crazy.
It's true.
Not to mention, there's another inch that got him his win at Atlanta, which even allowed him to make the playoffs in the first place.
That's what I'm saying. Three 1,000ths there, 1/1000th for Buescher.
And Suarez is also lucky that Tyler Reddick was an unhinged madman at Darlington.
To the comments here, AK Yank 98 said that race is the equivalent to getting a pizza party in elementary school, and your teacher gives you the thinnest slice possible.
Oh, like one of those where they take the slice and they cut it into 8 little slices somehow.
Yeah, like when they're like, well, we have to split the pizza with all 22 of your classmates. It's like, then order another pizza.
Then buy more pizza, damn it.
Only one piece of pizza per person. It's like, I'm 5'10" in 5th grade, lady. I need more than one piece.
We're growing children. Quit splitting the pie.
Think of the children. T. Wolf here said Arby's made a good choice sponsoring the 66. Got a lot of TV time being lapped so many times tonight.
I saw a super chat we got earlier that said very much the same thing. Yeah, Arby's got their money's worth.
And just a side note, that wasn't actually big Arby's. That was like a little small local franchise that had the Arby's thing. It just said, sure, put Arby's on there.
It's like the Whataburger deal with David Starr. That's like a smaller scale franchisee that paid for that.
Avery here said more horsepower, please. 870 or 900. Okay. Bowser Jr. says, how on earth did more people pick great or good over below average and bad?
Yeah, 31% over 30%. I'm shocked. I'm as shocked as anyone.
I personally voted below average this week.
I vote bad.
Yeah.
On my burner. I couldn't.
You vote on your own poll.
Yeah, man. I gotta sway it one way or another.
He's got to get those numbers up on the voting results.
Your vote matters.
Speedway Anywhere says, thank God my plans got screwed up to go see this race.
Dang. Tough.
Our JK says, best Bristol race ever.
Oh, okay.
Big Kyle Larson fan.
Or he's just high.
Hey, we show both sides of the argument. We're very fair here at NWP News Network.
IS_812 says, I mean, Hendrick finished 1-2. How can I not like it? Watch the rest of the race. The gutter comments here. First one from Jeckinger says, snooze fest. Bristol used to be absolutely entertaining. The spring race was fantastic due to the wear issues. You can't have tempers flare when nobody is bumping and banging for position. Short track package for this car is abysmal.
Oh, tempers can flare from the fans.
Yeah. Seth says, most boring race of the season, and Dingus led the whole freaking thing.
I was going to say, why is that getting downvoted? Dingus. Okay. Yeah, that'll do it.
And then Scott G says, another terrible, boring Bristol race. This car sucks. This track sucks. When will they have... Well, when they have to add PJ1 to the surface, you know you screwed up. Instead of running a race at Bristol, they should just show on TV a late 90s or early 2000s Bristol night race.
I mean, how many years have we been adding PJ1 to it at this point?
Well, they didn't for the Xfinity and I think truck race. They're just going to roll with it. And then the Xfinity race turned into hot garbage. And they're like, maybe we should add something here.
Mm.
And that's the poll.
Was that it?
Yeah.
The poll, the famous iceberg poll. Be sure to tune into the iceberg on YouTube immediately following every NASCAR Cup Series race so you too can vote on the famous iceberg poll. Let's talk Xfinity, folks. First race on the CW. What do you guys think? What do you think of this? It was still NBC guys doing a lot of the work.
It was just repackaged NBC. That's all it was.
A lot of orange branding.
Well, the problem is that so they had marketed it up to literally starting the race. How it's like you get the CW free to play channel, you get every Every single place around the country, you get to stream it, and then
So there's a lot of problems with this.
So yeah, the issue is they said all that, right? And then I had a few people that I know who it's like, oh yeah, so like the CW just sort of blacks out in my area with like live stuff. So it's just there's nothing. There's just a black screen
because they're independent stations across the country.
For me and Danny, like Danny, you have YouTube TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kept freezing up at times.
Oh yeah, they did do that.
It froze up like every 15 to 20 minutes. And the thing was, I checked other channels, like because I put it on my phone and it's still frozen. So I gotta check. I'm like, I wonder what's going on with this one. Nothing's frozen. Nothing's frozen. Go back to CW. It's still frozen. And then the app, they didn't have it. They just said coming soon, 2025. So it's like they got to fix that stuff because they could have had over 1 million.
They weren't ready for this year because it was kind of last second, it felt like. But so that makes me feel better. They said coming soon at least because I was worried it was going to be a NASCAR decision that they're going to say you can't give it away for free.
Yeah, they got to get the streaming option like on the CW's website. You plug in your provider, what have you. They need that in part needs to work at the very least because this was sort of billed as, hey, CW's just like Fox and ABC and NBC. It's the bottom of the dial. Everyone with an antenna gets it. And it's like, yeah, okay. But
I heard people with an antenna some people didn't even get it.
It's because it's so localized. It's still kind of a crapshoot, which is unfortunate.
I think it was Tom Engel's desk on Twitter. He lives somewhere in like the middle of like one of those Midwestern states in the middle of nowhere. And he was basically saying there is no provider anywhere near where he lives. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then some people were saying that depending on where they were, there was high school football on because it was a Friday night. And I kind of see that because I've known CW. I've watched some East Tennessee high school football games on the CW way back in the day. Some people were saying they were seeing reruns of Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. And it's like, okay, y'all going to have to get this figured out. Because you're going to have all these little independent networks that think they can control what's being shown, costing y'all some huge contract, disagreements of NASCAR.
The funny part for me were the amount of people who had it and just didn't put in the effort to actually look. They're like, oh, I guess I do. It's like, yeah, come on, man. Like, it's right there, but like, it needs to be fixed.
So
that's
me,
where I leave it off.
I was just so shocked because personally, CW has been a channel I've known about since I was a kid. My family, okay, just for reference, there was a lot of years where we just didn't have cable. We didn't have any kind of thing like that. We just had a little antenna and we got the local channels. That's all we got. And CW was always one of those channels I could watch. I would watch King of the Hill reruns a lot on CW. I remember watching that a lot. Big Bang Theory would be a common thing that my CW would show. So CW was always something that I knew about, but now it seems like, okay, CW is making a lot of effort here. They're showing they're going to have some NASCAR. They're going to have NXT. They're going to have ACC football. They're really trying to make CW into something bigger than what it always was for me.
Yeah. So, and like Napa Racing fans says in the chat, it's a good, what do they say? It's a good deal if they get these kinks worked out, which, I mean, I guess they have until February really to truly get this all figured out.
On a side note, do you see, I think it was NASCAR Man, because I saw Slap retweeted it, that he tweeted out a clip of King of the Hill. And it's like, oh, this sermon went really fast. Well, the Winston Cup's on at noon, so they wanted to make it quick for plenty of time. And Slap just puts, we were a proper nation once.
I did see that one.
Times were simpler back then. Well, as far as the race itself, Cole Custer wins it. Also wins the regular season championship after Justin Allgaier gets caught up in a crash. Tough break for JA. Feels like say tough break about him every once a month. We say something like that.
I told y'all last week that on paper, my picks seemed like the best picks ever, but it'd probably go all wrong. They all went all wrong.
Everything that could have went wrong for Allgaier did, and everything that could have went right for Cole Custer did. It was like the perfect storm of a perfect Allgaier choke.
Yeah, so the defending series champion wins the regular season championship ahead of the start of the Xfinity Series playoffs.
Who finished second?
I was about to say, none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Sheldon Creed.
Hang the banner!
This is, what number is this, 13?
And
I think so.
I know Eric saw me tweet this. But the fact that he was racing that hard for another second place finish was just the most Sheldon Creed thing possible.
Immediately, I'm like, somebody needs to put to him racing that hard, beating and banging, getting all up there, and just you hear, "Hold me now, I'm 6 feet from the edge."
Yeah, 13 second place
Is,
finishes.
is this going to end Daniel Hemrick style where he finally wins at Phoenix?
It could. It certainly looks that way because he has finished top 5
And in the same car at that.
in 6 of the last 8 races. So he is peaking. He's starting to peak at the right time. I could see a Sheldon Creed winless any percent speed run to the championship and then he pulls a Daniel Hemrick.
He's gonna win it by finishing second. He's gonna get like a 16th second place.
It's gonna be like Connor Zilish has dominated Phoenix today, and here comes Sheldon Creed. He'll finish second and win the Xfinity Series championship.
He loses by like 3/1000ths of a second, and it's like he was that close, but he got the championship.
If there are any NASCAR scriptwriters out there who are capable of making this happen, we need the Sheldon Creed second place championship run.
I could see Connor Zilish being able to just I'm out here dominating this race, and you guys do whatever you need to back there.
I'm dead. That would be so funny. Dale Earnhardt Jr. may have run his final NASCAR race, finished 7th, battled radio issues early on, but worked his way through the field. You two are the Dale Jr. fans. What'd you make of Dale's potentially his final run?
I'm just shocked that Jarrett didn't try to go to this race, knowing that it could have been his last one.
I would have wanted to stay for the Cup race, and there's just that I was like, it's not going to be like the spring either. But I'm going to say this: I was watching at home, and this is the one race a year I get to be a fanboy. And I think you guys saw me in our chat. Like, I was legitimately getting pissed about the radio stuff. I'm like, how the hell can you have the same damn issue in practice, say it's happening, not do a goddamn thing, change helmets, and still have the same freaking issue? Damn it! And I'm like, come on.
I'm pretty certain there's not a single Dale Jr. fan who wants him to go out this way, but it seems like this is how it's going to go out.
Well, he talked about leaving the door open for 26, but it's like at that point. Like he's turning 50 in like 3 weeks, or maybe 2 weeks at this rate. And it's like taking 2 years off in your 50s. Like, you know, Bill Elliott came back and was serviceable after a long time off, but it's like you're playing with fire at that point. The thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see Junior come back to like Bristol or Martinsville or Darlington, like these tracks he's relatively or really good at, and run like 25th all day.
Didn't Bill Elliott run a race for GMS only like a few years ago?
Yeah, I think he finished like
Road
16th
America or something. Yeah.
So like I was happy he was competitive. Like I was genuinely surprised. I'm not saying if it were easier to pass, I think this weekend, I think he would have raced his way up into the battle for the win, or at least near it. But I was happy with the fact that he ran that well.
I think for Dale, it's going to have to be the right track. Like they'll have to get an Xfinity Series date at Wilkesboro or Fairgrounds or something like that.
He finally got Rockingham figured out in like his last start there, and then they took it off the damn schedule.
Junior still needs to run a truck race period in his career, so I think he should just hop into that one in the 7 truck or something.
I'm down. Well, I'm cool with that.
He's changing his number from 8 to 7.
For six,
not 6.5, 7.
6.7.
I'll be curious if Dale Jr. ever does. That's the thing, is this was kind of low key. He kind of hinted, yeah, this might be my last one. You know, he drinking beers with the boys afterwards, but like, there's no real fanfare to it. I know Dale Jr., he's had plenty of fanfare in his career. He's not asking for any more massive send-offs. I get it, but you got to believe if this was truly going to be his final race, there would have been a little more to it. Throwback scheme, for example, like he did in 2017, or you know what I mean? Like this just sort of felt like, honestly, it kind of just felt like Eric Almirola running a one-off Xfinity race in some ways. A few more eyeballs for sure, a few more butts in the seats. But
I heard at the track, it was a way different vibe. Like it was like there was a pretty good atmosphere at the track.
The crowd looked bigger than some recent spring race Cup race crowds.
So like, you know, maybe I think that's what he's going for, is more of the at the track thing. Like Cup, that's definitely the nationwide, you know, pardon the pun there. Like that's the nationwide appeal. But like Xfinity is like the, you know, I'm coming out here like right up close with the fans. Like he was even saying he was like, when they were having beers after the race, he was having beers with some of the fans, and like there was like 20 people just chilling, getting drunk until 2 a.m.
I just know I've been to a couple of his Xfinity races now, and Yeah, maybe it was a little different, but I've seen him be really laid back and chill afterwards too. And again, there's more fans in the stands than there would be for a tip. Like I went to his Martinsville race in 22. I was at,
Yeah,
when did he do Homestead? Was that also 22? Or was that
that was
23? Was that last
He
year?
did
2020.
Homestead a couple times, I feel like.
He had
Didn't
2020
he?
and I think 2022.
Because he had
Yeah,
Because that was the one you did like the three of you dancing in a video or something.
that might have been
That was
yeah.
that same weekend.
oh yeah.
I think I was there
at
for that. Anyway,
I was at Richmond in 21.
like
and
there's always a little more buzz, a
I
lot of
guess-
media following him, all that stuff. But like I don't know. I guess I wasn't there this week, so I can't speak to it again. But it just from the social media buzz I was getting, it just kind of felt like another one-off. And so I don't know. It could be his last one. If it is, really strong effort. But if it's not, I'll be curious to see if he does something big for maybe his true final send-off. I think it's just the racer in him never wants to close that door completely. You know what I mean?
I'll hope in
Like,
a lot of Cars Tour races. I'll
Sure.
guarantee you that, especially if like some of the rumors of like different tracks that might come true and stuff like that. Like, I don't think
True,
he's
yeah.
done racing for a long time, but
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if like, he's talking about doing 26. I wouldn't be surprised if he does that or picks up maybe sometime in 25 after the summer stretch or something.
For the sake of Lionel Racing, who's recently gotten into late model diecast, they hope Dale Jr. never stops running the Cars Tour.
That's probably true.
We'll get that print right.
Moving to the playoff field for Xfinity, 7-race playoffs begin this weekend at Kansas. Allgaier is the 1 seed, plus 27. Cole Custer is plus 21. Austin Hill plus 18. Chandler Smith plus 17. SVG plus 10. Jesse Love plus 6. Sam Mayer plus 4. Riley Herbst plus 3. Creed is minus 3. AJ Allmendinger minus 4. Sammy Smith minus 9. And Parker Kligerman minus 12. We'll talk Xfinity championship predictions later on, unless you guys have like a clear-cut championship favorite you want to just like throw out there.
There is no one that stands out to me. All I know is that if it wasn't for the Roval existing, I would put SVG out this round, honestly.
I think he gets through this round. I think then the round of like Vegas, Homestead, he's going to struggle.
Allgaier, Custer, and Creed are the three I'm looking at right now.
As winning the title.
Those are always the three that I think are like the really good
I
ones.
Which three did you say?
Allgaier, Custer, and Creed.
I like those, and I'll throw Austin Hill in there.
I could, especially with Martinsville. I'm not sold on him.
I think Justin Allgaier is the favorite. I know he's the 1 seed, so maybe that's obvious, but he's been to how many championship fours now? 5, 6, and he's never won it. I looked at it, like looking at the numbers this year, he has twice as many stage wins as any other Xfinity Series regular, and he's got those 2 wins. He could easily have had 3 or 4, like a couple others. I think about even like Phoenix. It was going to win Phoenix and blew a tire in the closing laps. I mean, I like Justin Allgaier if he gets to the championship 4 this year. I just think he's going to get it.
Is Zilich running in Roval? I know he's running this weekend. Because if he's running the Roval, then we got a real fight in our hands.
We got a race. We got a battle. But yeah, those are the Xfinity Series standings. Real quick, I know we're past the top of the hour. We'll get to the super chats.
Someone said I think someone said it'll be Mozak in the 88 for that one.
That might be true. Truck race, Lane Riggs, 2 wins in a row. He has been on fire at these short tracks recently. Not in the playoffs, but in victory lane.
Playoffs started and this man became peak Tony Stewart or something. I don't know what happened.
I've just been waiting all year for that 38 team to look like the 38 team, and finally they are. It took them long enough.
Hey, he kept his shoulder intact this week.
Good.
I loved how he joked about that too.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Connor Zilich had an anticlimactic. This wasn't his Truck Series debut, but it was his. It might have been. Was it his Truck Series Oval debut? I don't recall.
So.
I know.
No,
he did.
I don't know.
He ran Richmond earlier this year. It was one of his first truck races.
Was it memorable?
But after getting the Xfinity win, you just had a lot of high expectations for him.
I mean, he won the pole by like a tenth and a half. So I was like, "Whoa, okay." But
he wrecked out in both races.
Yeah,
Arca was ugly too.
Even when we put up our when our picks on Twitter, even like David chimed in, like chat shows right on this one. Well,
yeah, going fast for one lap is hard. It was easy compared to going fast for 250 laps or whatever it was. Yeah, there's 1 week left for the Truck Series. They're racing at Kansas this weekend. And the current point situation, Ty Majeski is plus 58, virtually locked in. Raja Karuth plus 35, feeling pretty good. Tyler Ankrum plus 25. Taylor Gray plus 23. Grant Enfinger, the vet, is plus 7. Danny Dye
Oh no,
is
Daddy die!
7 points out. And Ben Rhodes, the defending champion, minus 12, could easily get bounced here in the first round.
I
So
don't know. I don't. And Ben Rhodes is 2 years. He's won a championship. I don't think he's ever followed up the championship well, or at least the first time, and then now this year.
I
No,
wouldn't know, but he does seem like the up and down, sort of inconsistent type, that whole team. Um, but yeah, so the Truck Series heads to Kansas this weekend. We'll talk about that in a bit. Triple header weekend. I think even Arca's there this weekend, right? So
yeah, I
going to be
think,
busy.
yep. Because there's 2 races Friday, then Saturday and Sunday, and I think Arca's actually having an announcement at Kansas this weekend. I don't know what it's about, but like they're having some kind of press conference on Friday.
They're finally just saying goodbye, Arca. We don't want this no more.
No, no, no. Come on, you can't say that. You can't say about Arca.
Arca's becoming the electric series.
Oh, there it is. Well, we'll talk Kansas in the second half of the show. We have reached the first super chat stage break. Y'all can time me. We've got some very generous commenters here tonight. First off, Bailey Reichert sent 2 super chats before the show. How did Matt Crafton get a planter sponsorship before Daniel Dye?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's a good callback, good meme there. And then they also said this race should have been sponsored by Arby's. The amount of times we saw Josh Bilicki on screen, yeah,
Oh,
it's so rare. Yeah, there he is again. We have the meats. It's rare that we see a next gen car so off the pace nowadays. The field is so equal.
It was comical.
So it's jarring when you see someone who truly is just not able to keep up.
Jared, if you look out your window, you might see ambulances. You might also see Josh Bilicki out there.
Oh, the ambulance just passed him. That's sad.
Hey, that response time in Hendersonville is elite. Good job. Isaac V24 says most heartbreaking photo finish loss of 2024. KFB at Atlanta, 3/1000ths. Ryan Sieg at Texas, 2/1000ths. Or Busher at Kansas, 1/1000th.
I give it to Ryan Sieg because he may not get those chances anymore than the other two.
That's how I feel. Or Chris Busher, because I mean, I guess you could say the same about Kyle Busch, but Busher was more playoff worthy this year, and to miss out by an inch.
Kyle Busch is still Kyle Busch, and I always think he can win a race. So
yeah, but yeah, Ryan Sieg at Texas, that was unfortunate. Alex Left says, hot take, I think Sterling Marlin should be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
His paint scheme, that the silver bullet.
I just
put that in there.
I mean, now that I finally got Ricky Rudd in there, I can go for Sterling Marlin.
I just saw in the chat, like, what's the light goal? I'm like, look on the screen.
Is it not big enough?
I mean, if you guys don't want to get the 600, you don't have to.
Well, maybe they're just listening, Jared. Maybe this is our Spotify listener from the future. Somehow they.
I don't know. They got mad at me for the dinosaur talk. So here you go. Here's the light goal. All right, there we go.
A few more here. Mason Elkins says everyone should drink a Coke if we hit 600 likes. There you go. A little Coke 600 reference.
I ain't got a Coke.
I've got some of those Oreo Cokes in the fridge downstairs. They are weird.
I saw one of those in the store. Should I buy one?
I mean,
I'm not gonna.
if you could buy just like one, sure. Spend a couple bucks, get a bottle, give it a shot.
Don't they also have a Oreo cookie that's Coke flavored as well?
I have that downstairs as well.
Do you have to eat them both together at the same time?
I've not done that yet, but maybe tonight's the night. If we get 600 likes, I will go fish a couple out and give that a shot. We can have a live taste test. A few more here. Daniel Meredith Jr. says, Larson and 3-0 Steelers. It's awesome. Daniel's loving life over there. Dumas, I like that name, says, screw it, run the dirt tires on the short tracks. Oh my gosh. Massive or maximum calamity there. Daniel Meredith Jr. sent another super chat. You can't blame Goodyear. You could blame Goodyear in the '08 Indy race. Problem is everyone can see everyone's data. Please go back to 5 lug nuts. Okay, a lot of things there. The 5 lug nuts, I don't feel is related to this conversation, but yeah, the argument that everyone can see everyone's data made the drivers more equal. Cars are obviously more equal. Equals harder to pass. Couple more real quick before we move on. Rowdy8 Diecast says, had a good first time at Bristol, definitely going again. Well, good news for you, Rowdy8. It can only get better from there. So if you had fun then, you'll have a blast next time. Jake Alcorn says, not the most exciting races at the track live, but standing at the fence between 1 and 2 during practice was exhilarating. I'll give a heart to that one because I agree. Walking around the fence, by the fence at Bristol it's like Michigan Daytona, Talladega, Bristol are like the three best, like just wildest flyby feelings. And one more here. This is the 10th super chat Andrew Waring has left on this channel. The spec car, they say, has failed. I don't see the parity anymore. They're closer, but the same cars will always win. Strong take there. The parity is certainly lessened. I'm not going to say it's gone. We do have, I know he's in a Penske car, but we had an Austin Cindric win at Gateway. We had a Harrison Burton win at Daytona. Chase Briscoe out of nowhere at Darlington. Absolutely nobody saw that coming. And I know these are still good teams, obviously. We're not seeing Rick Ware Racing pull off wins, but I mean, to their point, the parity is less, and the car now is hindering the short track product. So I don't blame fans for being frustrated with that, voicing those frustrations like we did earlier in the show. But that'll do it for the first super chat stage break. If you've already left a super chat, thank you so much. We will read and react to them at the very end of the show, but we do need to move on. Still have a lot to get to here in the second half. We are, on my screen, nearly 100 likes away from hitting our what I thought was a pretty steep like goal. So you guys are overachieving big time tonight, blowing my expectations out of the water. If we get to 600 likes, Danny and I, and you chat, will get to attempt to guess Jarrett's random driver of the week.
And then Eric will have Oreo Coke and cookies.
And I will dip my Oreo cookies, my Oreo Coke cookies into my Oreo Coke soda. Oh my gosh.
It's a lightning round. Strike Eric
soda
down.
Cookies.
He will have the Tony Stewart classic.
Right when you said soda cookies, you went soda cookies. And
I feel the power. That was the super chat stage break. Now, folks, it's time for the lightning round. Head for it, Jarrett.
Start out with just letting you guys know now we do have the NWP channel where we have all episodes re-uploaded, as well as we'll tell you when the episodes will be next and all that stuff. It was the Clips channel, so just look up at NWP Clips and it'll be there. Lane Riggs has said that he will be returning to Front Row's truck team in 2025. So
good time to announce that.
Yeah, good news there. Dale Jr. will not be back in 2025, has left the door open for 26 when it comes to Xfinity Series, but nothing just yet. Geico will leave NASCAR next year as a premier sponsor partner. No news on if they'll sponsor a race or not still.
Tough.
I think Geico have a good relationship in fishing, so they can take their relationships to better places probably.
NASCAR Full Speed averaged 3.4 million viewers per episode in season 1. By comparison, Drive to Survive this year had 11.6 million, whereas IndyCar's 100 Days to Indy had 300,000 views an episode. So
that's if they really got 3 million viewers per episode, that's huge.
Well, I think it was like the last episode got like 2.5 million. So like the first one got like 4 or 5 million. So it was a pretty big draw. That seems
pretty massive. Yeah. Wow.
It's a lot better than the first year of Drive to Survive. So if they can build on that. Dawson Sutton will be replacing Ty Dillon for the rest of 2024's truck season for Rackley War. Dillon will not race for the rest of the year, but he has a cup ride more than likely next year from the sounds of it.
I think, is he in the cup? I think he might be in a Colleague car this weekend in the cup race. I might be wrong. So he'll make some race. He's not racing trucks this year though, but he will make some other starts.
I feel like Ty Dillon going back to Cup is like the SpongeBob. How many times do you have to teach this lesson, old man?
Let's finish off here because you're not wrong. Brendan McDowell, a video engineer for NASCAR and Fox and NBC, has said that Prime Video will be using the same producers and be produced by the NBC crew. Producers, directors, audio, cameras, etc. TNT will use their own kind of deal, but more than likely they'll have a lot of the same people working on it. So basically next year, you'll have pretty much the same directors for all but the Fox races, if that makes people happy. I'm sure it will. I'm interested with that. Next week, we will be on my channel. October 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Should be a lot of fun. We'll have plenty of fun stuff for that next week. But yeah, also one last thing. Order of business. We do have a guest coming on October 16th. Ellie Productions will be making his return to the show. So that should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to have him on. Cool. He got a new avatar logo since he's been on last.
Wow. 2.0.
Yeah. But that's the lightning round. Strike Eric down again.
The lightning round is presented by no one. We are moving on
I was
to
gonna say we got a sponsor that's newsman. Give me some money.
no,
Nobody.
absolutely not. We are moving on to the headlines segment of the show, and a lot of these headlines are like a few days old. Not much has broke since the Bristol night race, but a lot has broke since we last did this show one Wednesday ago. Beginning with Harrison Burton. He has a new home, AM Racing. I feel like this has been swept under the rug because there was larger free agent moves announced shortly thereafter. But Harrison Burton to AM Racing full-time next year, back in the Xfinity Series. Jarrett, how do you think this works out for both teams, for both parties, I should say?
If they can be prepared more than this year, team-wise, I think a lot better, personally. I think Harrison Burton is a step up from Haley Deegan, just experience-wise. He's been good in this series before.
Definitely.
I can't wait for like the 20 Deegan defenders to come after me for saying someone was better. But I really think that he can be like a top 20 team as long as they're ready to go. But
I do feel like it's a bigger downgrade than I thought he would get personally.
Eric, are you looking at the same comment I'm looking at?
I'm laughing. I don't know if he meant it this way, but I'm laughing at Noah Coleman's comment in the chat.
Jeff, your little boy is done.
He's finished. Goodness.
Yeah, if it's anything prepared wise like Deegan this year, it's going to be rough. And I still think he'll do a little better.
Yeah, I mean, he'll do a little better. Like that car, when everything's plugged in and working correctly, is a decent car. Like it's top 15, I feel. And that's probably about where Harrison will run next year.
I mean, unless there's things happening behind us that I don't know about, it seems like that ride could be a place where young careers go to die, because I don't know if Haley has anything set up for next year right now.
It's a career cradle robber.
God, last I saw of Haley Deegan, wasn't she testing an Indy car?
Yeah, I think so.
She posted that was a few weeks ago. Well, yeah, Harrison Burton. I think he's a proven Xfinity Series winner. He's a Cup Series winner. He's got that on his resume. He likely brings some funding. He's obviously a good kid, likable. He's a team player. Like this could be exactly what that team's looking for. I'm a little skeptical. Like he's got more experience than Deegan for sure, but that was the problem I feel with Deegan in AM Racing was Deegan needed someone experienced to coach her. AM Racing needed someone experienced to coach them, to help prop them up and get them up to speed. And Harrison Burton, more experience than Haley Deegan, not by a ton, not by a lot. I don't think he's going to make them noticeably better. I think it's going to be another year of sort of treading water, running top 15 when all goes well, and then sometimes things are just going to break, or they're going to mess something up in qualifying, start in the back, get caught up in a crash. It's going to be a very up and down season for Harrison next year would be my early prediction.
Yeah.
But other news, this was the big one. Corey LaJoie and Justin Haley have officially been traded for one another. Corey LaJoie, beginning this weekend at Kansas, will drive the Rick Ware Racing number 51 for the remainder of this season. Justin Haley, beginning this weekend at Kansas, will drive the Spire number 7 for the rest of this year. And next year, he's expected to be teamed up with Rodney Childers. Let's start with Justin Haley. Start with Justin, Danny. What do you got?
This seems like a move that was pushed more on the part of the people at Spire who really, no offense to Corey, really wanted to just go ahead and part ways with him early.
I think to compare this to stick and ball sports, I know you love that, chat. I don't think either side lost this trade, but if I had to pick a winner, I would say it's Spire Motorsports. They're getting the young driver with a much higher ceiling.
Haley got more out of a Rick Ware Racing car than I think I'd ever seen anyone do.
He's had a few just standout runs this year. Like you look at the actual results, I think he's like 32nd in points, but his average finish this year is like 23rd. And I looked it up last year, the 51 car had an average finish of close to 30th. So Justin Haley has helped drag this car from the depths, and he's getting rewarded for it with what I think is a upgrade.
Honestly, the real loser here is RFK to lose Haley from their pipeline.
But were they really going to use Haley? I mean, it sounds like they were going to pass him up for Ryan Preece because he has a relationship with Kroger. It all comes down to funding. Yeah, I mean, sure, in a few years, Brad is going to probably retire, and it would have been nice to have someone like a Justin Haley you could plug in. But in this day and age, 3-4 years is like an eternity.
It's going to Mini Hendrick.
That's what they say. It's hard to beat that contract when Rick Hendrick's name is on the
I,
deal. It's
I'm,
hard to beat that.
I need somebody to do it, whether they have AI or just really good artists. Somebody have like a picture of Rick Hendrick and then like a really squatted down tiny Rick Hendrick. It's like, you know, if anyone watched Oni Plays when he has like Little Trump and he's like doing that cartoon, like somebody can do that with Rick Hendrick and just mini Hendrick. I would love to see that. Tag me and I'll retweet it as long as it's like appropriate.
I doubt it can do Rick Hendrick, but I am going to put that into Twitter's Grok AI system just to see if it can make that.
Hello, Rick. How you doing? I'm doing really good today. Really good. Little Hendrick. Really good. It's a win for Haley. It is a total win for him. I mean and it's a win for the team too. The team, because the team gets younger. They have a solid young core to build with, on top of getting Michael McDowell, who I think will be solid for a year or two. Team on the up and up. And now you have your weakest link, bringing Rodney Childers in. I like the idea of getting Justin Haley ready to go, have him, you know, be acclimated with the team so that it can help Rodney Childers fit in better. And then you just you roll into 25. You're not having to have like that third of a season like this year that Rodney Childers had, getting used to Josh Berry, brand new, everything like that. It's just, I think you roll right on into it. And I think that this team, one of the Spire teams, points wise, will be competing for a playoff spot next year at this point. I really think that's possible.
Especially if they do turn into a tier 1 Chevy team like a mini Hendrick that's been rumored recently. Absolutely. I mean, we saw this year Front Row became a Ford tier 1 team, and you know, McDowell ran about how he's run in the past, but Todd Gillen took a big step forward. I think Carson Hocevar flirted with top 20 in points this year as a rookie. He's likely going to get better, and Justin Haley is for sure going to make that 7 car better. So I'm with you. I think this is a good move. I hope we're not all overselling Justin Haley too much. He had a really good year in trucks back in the day for GMS, won a few races. But if you look at his Xfinity resume, he made a championship 4 during the pandemic season, but all of his wins were super speedway wins. It's not nothing, but it's also not as much of something as maybe we'd like to make it. I think he's good. He's way more experienced than almost any other 25-year-old driver out there, but I do hope we don't set too lofty of expectations. I think if he's top 25 in points next year and contends for top 5s a couple times, I think that's a successful year for Haley. But we'll see. Maybe if they truly end up in the Hendrick pipeline, then expectations will be much higher, and they probably should be. Some folks are comparing them to Stuart Haas. Like this will be the next Stuart Haas when Harvick won that title. I mean, hey, Rodney Childers is involved. Maybe it will be.
I muted it when the sirens went by and a louder one showed up.
Oh my gosh. Another lap down for Balicki in the 66.
They're towing him.
I do just want to say, for some clarification, I did actually try getting AI to make Rick Hendrick, and actually did him fairly well, but it put him next to what basically looks like maybe a smaller version of William Byron. Like a baby version of William Byron.
Looks like Cash Boyer.
Yeah, I can see Cash Boyer too.
Anyway, real quick, Corey LaJoie, obviously a step backwards for him, but my argument is this is a more comfortable situation. We also don't know that LaJoie is going to drive the 51 next year. This is like a 7-week trial run, but let's assume LaJoie ends up at Rick Ware full time. How do you feel about his career at this point, Jarrett?
He's back in his comfort zone. For better or worse. If you're somebody who I think wants him to kind of get back to at least doing good on occasion, you're thinking, okay, you're good to go. You'll be able to help build the team up. If you're people that go against him, there's a lot of people who are not LaJoie fans. Then they're going to be like, look, he has another excuse that he can say on his podcast. Like that's just the way it's going to go about it. I expect him to run about the same, if not a little bit worse, than Justin Haley. I don't expect him to pop up in the top 10 on a regular basis at like intermediates or anything. I think if he can run top 15 every now and then, top 20, that'll be enough, I think.
Yeah, I think he's going to run about where Haley has run this year. He's probably not going to crack the top 10 as frequently as Justin Haley has, but we'll have to wait and see. I do think, like you said, Jarrett, he's going to be more comfortable. He won't be pressing quite as hard, and I think that's when we've seen the best of Corey LaJoie in the past. Less than 50 likes away from our light goal of 600. One final news story, I guess, that sort of has come out in the last 24 hours. This was reported by, I believe, Adam Stern. But FedEx, longtime Denny Hamlin partner, is expected to continue to downsize or potentially completely remove their sponsorship next season.
I,
We've
I think
seen,
I think we just see him say goodbye.
I mean, they've been slowly but surely working their way less races every single year, pretty much.
I mean, think of it like this. Also, back when FedEx first came into the sport, they had rival companies like UPS also involved in the sport. Now it's just been them. It's not like, oh, we need to beat our rival.
Yeah,
Well, I'm the only one here. So
yeah,
kind of like what happened to all the hardware stores. You saw Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards is not going anywhere. But you saw all those hardware stores, and all of a sudden, Home Depot, bye bye, Lowe's, bye bye.
yeah. And they do kind of come in waves. I remember that with like the cereal companies, with like Wheaties and Cheerios and
Yeah.
all those different Kellogg's.
Kind of
It
has seen
was,
the fast food companies come back into it because they got plenty of money to spare. But
yeah. I mean, you have Wendy's on SVG's car. McDonald's is still huge. KFC runs ads on every race. Sonic runs ads on every race. So
I for me, I think it's when you add in the other stuff we've heard, the fact that it's not just FedEx, it's the fact that a lot of these bigger sponsors have kind of downsized. If it's you're looking at like Anheuser-Busch, yeah, they're still in it, but they're not going to use their tier one product with Budweiser. They'll use, Busch Light or Busch. You got Xfinity and talking about dropping out within the next year. Geico is leaving next year. I think where it is, and the reason that Xfinity may be taking that extra year is that there might be some upside, some ROI, is that you're going into a new contract with an NASCAR Cup Series, especially. Where is the ROI compared to the previous deal viewership-wise for a sponsor? You're getting less network races. You're getting more cable races on channels that, the next 7 years are going to bleed subscribers. And you got streaming, which is it's a gamble, but I think it's a gamble that could work, but it's still a gamble in the current market. And so I wouldn't be surprised if you see more sponsors downsizing when, they're doing cost reduction for the teams. The teams aren't going to charge the sponsors less. They're just going to put the money elsewhere. So I think you're going to continue to see this until either you get a cost cap or you make it where it's impossible to spend all the money the sponsors have and the market drives the prices down. Which might actually be better because then we won't have 24 different schemes to look for each driver every year. We'll have at least a few to latch onto more like basically every other major motorsport does. I don't like it.
The funny thing is, I remember a time when Denny Hamlin, would only have FedEx throughout the year, but FedEx would have so many different byproducts that they would run different paint schemes to where he had a bunch of paint schemes, but it was all one sponsor though.
Yeah, and so I don't like it. They'll get sponsors. Like Denny Hamlin's not, the way they've been slowly leaving, I think is probably an act of good grace for Joe Gibbs. Like, been a long time partner. We're not going to leave you high and dry like M&M's did. But it's not, that's another one that's left recently. But it's not a good sign heading into a new deal that longtime sponsors aren't wanting to re-up with you. And it's an indictment on the business model and I think the next deal that we're heading into.
Has Bass Pro Shops confirmed how many races they'll be with Chase Briscoe? Because I'm wondering if they might want to step up with Denny as well.
They don't know if they gave a number. They said Daytona.
Because he kind of gives them a veteran driver they can also have in the Bass Pro realm.
Denny Hamlin doesn't scream Bass Pro Shops.
He does not, but I could see him rocking Bass Pro Shops though.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Jordan Brand, I like what Blaney Best said. Jordan Brand Denny car seems like a
so that's got me actually thinking. I don't know what Denny's sponsorship situation looks like next year, and as far as we know, has he made any kind of major contract extension? Is he kind of year by year? What do we really know on that part of it?
I forgot where he's at. I think didn't he sign an extension last year? I think he's good through at least next season. I think he's through 2026 for some reason.
Because basically, the way I'm seeing it, whatever, if his sponsor situation is just looking like they're just getting whatever, we got to have Sirius XM on a few races, we got to have JBL on a few races. Those are Toyota kind of partner brands at this point. If they got to do more stuff like that, I could fully see him finally biting a bullet, driving his own car, because
He signed a
that
multi-year extension this year.
multi-year. Okay.
It was at the end of it was last September. It was 1 year ago. He signed
It
a
says
multi-year.
it says on JSki 9/4/2024.
That would have been like a few days ago. So it was no, it was 9
was
4
a couple
2023
weeks
is
ago.
what I'm saying.
Okay, then I'll just say, personally, I want to see him try his hand at driving his own car, because I also feel like him in one of his own cars would attract more sponsorship to their team to know they're also getting Denny Hamlin, the owner, as well.
Would Joe Gibbs give him the 11? Probably not. I don't know.
The only way
That
he
was
could is
JD's
if you bring the 18 back.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
was
only
trying
way.
to think
I think
sentimental.
that was what happened. But I mean, the thing is, the 11 has been made famous by the likes of Kelly Yarborough, Darrell Waltrip. It's not Joe Gibbs' number in the grand scheme of NASCAR.
But I think Eric brings up a good point, though. It's the connection with his son. Like,
Yeah,
especially after
I
everything
don't know.
that families went through. I don't know if they'd want to give something up, like sentimentally at least, give something up like that so quickly. But if the only way I could see them doing that is if it was the 18s coming back. That's the only way I could see that.
I just feel this FedEx slowly phasing out is just added to the agitator that is Denny Hamlin. That's just another element of the business he's seeing go the wrong way, in his opinion, objectively going the wrong way, less sponsorship dollars coming in. And I think that just is another thing driving him off the track to push and be vocal and it's interesting. I think it is interesting to see that how that sort of times out.
let me just throw this out here. Actually, if Denny Hamlin was to somehow win a championship as a driver, does he go out Peyton Manning style and just retire right then and there?
That's I think it depends on how much the business side of it is really affecting his mentality on the sport in general. Because like if he's still having fun in the car and like that's his reprieve away from it, then like I don't see why he would. But if he's kind of pissed off with it all and he just wants to put all his mentality into team owning, I don't see why.
I feel like that could be the most Denny Hamlin thing ever. I finally won a championship. Goodbye.
In the tracks of Carl Edwards, a JGR driver retires at the peak of his career.
I feel he wouldn't do that to Joe Gibbs. I think he would finish out his contract.
Yeah, I think
otherwise I would say
respect's
yeah.
there.
I think that's all. And I think
Unless-
his contract goes through at least the end of next year. Next year could be his last year on his current deal.
It does say
We don't know.
25 on the J Ski too, but it says 25 plus. So
Yeah, so it's an unknown.
I think it's safe to just assume he is year by year, essentially.
After going into next year.
Because I kind of imagine if he just told JGR tomorrow, I want to drive my own car, he'd probably let him.
I mean, they might move some money around, but yeah, like they have a good mutual relationship, but that would strain it, is what I'm saying. Like, why would you not just wait one more year, finish out your deal, and then leave?
And who would they get? Like that
To replace
would be
him?
viable.
They would
We're
need someone
way down the line.
they would
Finally,
get-
Corey Haim gets promoted. Gibbs bites the bullet.
No, they would get someone who can get a lot of top fives. Second place finishes. Sheldon Creed, for example, he can get them. They can get them second place.
I guess I know Heim would make sense, but they've done everything to show they don't want him. The Chandler Smith one, I think that deal is kind of going by the wayside, isn't it? Like I saw something about like people saying that's iffy. I don't know whether or not it is, but I
It's
wouldn't
just hard
put
to
him
tell with all
up.
these Xfinity guys are there with money. I mean, no disrespect, a lot of them can drive, but like Creed brings money, Herbst brings money, Chandler Smith brings money.
Knowing
Knowing
what we know behind the scenes, John Hunter Nemechek didn't even get to 19 this time. He's never gonna get more than what he's got right now, I feel like.
They poached Connor Zilic.
Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I like how they're By the way, I like how they're counting down the likes in the chat because they're like 17 away, and then there's somebody here. We need 785 likes now.
Oh wow, moving the goalpost much.
Hey, I'm just proud of you guys. It looks like I don't even have to gaslight today.
No, I think by the time we finish our accountability and prediction segment, it'll probably be time to do the random driver of the week. So this is our prediction segment. We start with the accountability segment. Jarrett has gotten 27. Is this the order we do this in?
No, we do
the accountability first.
No, we do the
See, just like the Tennessee Titans, I don't want to talk about this right now.
I'm lost. I don't know where we're
All
at
right.
right
Well,
now.
what
Jared,
we
take
do-
over.
Yeah,
I'm
what we do is
lost.
so each of us will make 3 NASCAR show motorsport predictions, keep track of who's right and wrong each week, and we'll try and keep the predictions concise. And so let's start the accountability here, starting with yours truly. I said that Eric would drop an F-bomb by the time he hosts again today. He didn't. Good job, Eric.
Yay.
Wasn't a
All
potty
right.
mouth the last 2 weeks.
Look at me.
I
I
also
can
said
swear right now.
I also said a top 5 seeded driver in the 24 Cup playoffs would be knocked out in the first round. Denny was 6th going in. He looked like it's like, oh, if he wouldn't have been penalized, maybe, I don't know, but well, I wasn't close. Eric, you said CJ Stroud would throw more touchdown passes against the Vikings than the amount of combined overtime finishes in the Bristol weekend. Congrats, CJ got a garbage time touchdown, and there were no overtimes.
That's
That's
sad
so-
that it took that few.
That's so big. Of all weeks for there to be 0 overtimes. Thank you.
And
Thank
it was
you, NASCAR gods.
34-7.
Mhm.
On the wrong side, you said that Connor Zilic and Corey Day would both finish top 10 in the Bristol truck race. Neither did.
Zilic was running there.
Running there, yeah. And
For a second.
Danny, I had to minimize the font again for you. So here we go.
Yay.
You said that Alex Bowman would make at least the round of 12. You were correct. You also said Dale Jr. would be top 8 in the Xfinity Bristol race. You also are correct. Those are the good ones. The bad ones here. Ty Dillon would win a truck race. That did not happen. And he's out the rest of the year.
He's gone. I can't even think on Talladega. Dang it.
You said a Toyota would win the Bristol night race. I think other than Bubba and Reddick, Toyota didn't lead a lap. And it was like they only led like 4. You said only one playoff driver would win in the round of 16. Kyle Larson said, no, I will win again. You said Slap would make a reference about his Japan trip in the chat last week. He did not. Said Dale Jr. would lead at least 5 laps in his Xfinity race. Radio issues made sure that wouldn't happen. And that JR Motorsports would win in the Bristol Xfinity race.
Honestly, that's the one I'm most shocked I didn't get, honestly.
So
that's true.
As for the percentages, I'm leading at 43.55, Eric at 34.21, closing in. He's got single digits to make up now. And Danny, actually, you improved with that because you got better than the last couple of weeks. So 27.27%.
I don't have big goalposts to move right now.
So here's what we got. I'm gonna lead us off on the predictions. And I'm gonna swing for it right away. Alex Bowman will make the round of 8.
Solid. Okay. I won't go. Okay. I'll wait. Save my bolder one. My first prediction: Connor Zilic top 5 this weekend at Kansas.
I'm going to go ahead and just use my 2 since it's kind of close to what Jarrett said. Alex Bowman will carry his momentum with a top 10 finish this weekend at Kansas.
Let's see. I think at least one Spire driver will make the 2025 Cup playoffs.
Okay.
I think there's good drivers.
I sort of predicted this earlier. I'll double down on it. I'll put it in, write it in stone. Justin Allgaier, Xfinity champion 2024.
Ooh.
I could just say championship 4 appearance, but he's been there, done that. That's a gimme. I'm going all the way. He takes home the big, well, I guess the medium-sized trophy in championship weekend.
This is a weird one. Something will catch fire this weekend. I don't know what, but something will catch fire at Kansas Speedway, whether it's in racing action or not.
This was the track that had the fire over turn 1 about a decade ago. They had to throw a caution for because somebody at a campsite, like the campsite caught fire and smoke went all over the track. So
Yep.
I've seen wild stuff here.
I don't know what it'll be. Something's going to catch on fire.
I've seen wild stuff at this track, man. I would not say that is unrealistic in any way. I'm going to make a prediction for this weekend as well. This one will be about me, so host, show related here. I think at least one person will come up to me while I'm live during one of my post-race streams this weekend.
Probably.
I think happened last year. Hey, if you want, I'll just say it now. I'm going to be up in the stands live after the race on my phone. My dad will be sitting there waiting for me.
We're going to get a message from Jarrett the next day. Danny, my phone caught on fire during my live stream.
Actually, my phone ended up getting in water yesterday, so it was like the complete opposite. It'll be a complete turn of events in like 4 days.
Hope your microphone is still working.
It is.
I have another show/host related prediction. I don't know if it's been there in previous years, but in the spring, it was my first trip to Kansas. And out over kind of near turn one, they had a pickleball court set up.
Yep.
Jarrett, I challenge you this weekend. I will defeat Jarrett in a pickleball game at Kansas.
I've never even played pickleball.
I've like not played like an official game before, but I've like hit the ball around before. Let's do it.
I am showing you guys the Meat Canyon pickleball video after this.
Okay, I kind of want to say that. I guess this is on me to look out for since the two of you guys will be at the race. But the photo finish will be shown at least 4 times during the Sunday race, even though it probably shouldn't be shown at all, honestly.
Why shouldn't it be shown at all?
During the race, or like the whole broadcast, or like this pre-race involved?
No, not pre-race, just during the race. They're just going to run. Did you know earlier this year?
4 times. That is kind of a lot, but okay. All right.
I'm prepared to get that one wrong.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun weekend. But before then, guys, you gotta turn off your chats. I don't have to turn
it's
off
time for Random Driver.
Yes.
All right.
It is time.
I gotta really try and get it this time because spoiler, I won't be on next week, sadly.
You're tied 11-11. Both of you guys are. And looking at the last couple weeks, Eric finally got back on the board, getting Casey Atwood right. I got you guys with Jerry Glanville and Bill Rexford. Danny got 2 weeks in a row with Cody Ware and Travis Quaffle. So are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First off.
It is ma'am.
It is ma'am.
That's a hint. I knew I would get one out of him.
This random driver's first start was in the 38 car.
David Gillen. No, I don't know.
Is that your guess?
No, that's a hint.
This random driver won a race with his car on fire.
Okay.
Something will catch fire.
No,
that's a hint.
What I mean is, like, the story is the driver's car was on fire the last 2 laps, and he drove it around with the back end with a fuel fire raging.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Wow. I don't remember this.
Yeah, I don't remember this story. Maybe something will jog my memory.
This random driver actually had 2 races won because of scoring errors being discovered.
When you first said he won with his car on fire, my first thought was Stenhouse in that Iowa race. I don't know if his car ever actually caught fire, but he won because of scoring issues. So you're going way back. You're going way back.
Yeah,
hopping in my time machine here.
It's definitely an old driver. I feel like it's when the round car is racing on dirt or something.
This is like a Flintstones car running in there to drive it.
This random driver was a 2-time most popular driver winner.
Oh.
So it's not an Elliott or Earnhardt.
When did they start most popular driver? The 70s? 80s?
Actually, this would be good information to know.
I'm not going to tell you guys.
What an ass. This teacher is not grading us on a curve at all.
This random driver.
You can't quiz us on stuff we don't know, teacher.
Gosh, I hate Mr. Lundberg.
This random driver was tweeted about once by Mr. Lundberg, but never by Mr. Eastep or Baldwin.
Mr. Eastep was my father's name.
So it's only someone Jarrett knows. Gotcha.
This is classic.
This random driver ran in Buicks, Plymouths, Lincolns, Chryslers, Dodges, Oldsmobiles, and Fords.
Got a single Chevy. Wow.
This random driver only raced in 2 Daytona 500s.
Yeah, they're old as dirt.
This random driver won a Daytona 500.
Oh. Man, I gotta go way back. Come on, brain.
Maybe not
think.
so old.
Think.
I got the chat. It's a bunch of them are like, Curtis Turner. It's like, we used him.
Have they gotten it right yet?
No.
Oh, chat, get shit on. Whoa, how have they not gotten it?
Oh, hello.
I've got the Oreo.
Oh my gosh, he's got it.
For those that are listening right now, Eric has what do you have, Eric?
I have, it's the zero sugar. I have a can of Oreo flavored Coca-Cola zero sugar, and I have the remaining few Coca-Cola flavored Oreos. After I celebrate my random driver of the week win, I will be taste testing both at the same time. Science said it couldn't be done. Do not try this at home, kids.
Side note, I'm just gonna say this. Oh, props to Amelia, because I know there's huge stairs she had to come up holding a dog and holding the Oreos and holding the drink. So props to her for that.
Impressive balancing act. Yeah, she'll appreciate that.
All right, back to the game. Lock in. Here we go. This random driver was part of NASCAR in some way up until 2000.
I was gonna say, I hope he's part of NASCAR.
Up until 2000.
I can't believe the chat hasn't gotten it. Maybe they've gotten it by now, but the fact that they hadn't gotten it yet, that makes me think any of my thoughts are way off.
This random driver was born 110 years ago.
Old as dirt.
Danny just keeps repeating that.
This random driver has a career win percentage of 12.6.
Oh, so they good.
So they were good.
Yeah.
I have a guess.
Go for it.
No, I don't.
Lee Petty.
Oh, that was going to be my guess.
Your guess, Danny?
Please tell me
Yes.
it's not that.
It is.
No way. You're kidding me. No way. You're joking. No way.
I was literally about to say I have a guess, and then you said it first. I was like, and you're like, no, Lee Petty. Do it now.
That's too.
Put it in.
That's too obvious, isn't it? That's why I
Eric,
paused.
if you lose this year to Danny, it's because you
Oh
choked
my.
so many times.
Jeez,
This
that's
is like
the worst
your fifth
one.
one, I think.
That was terrible.
So I hate to say it, but what kind of made me clue in when you
2000.
said 2000, and I'm like, yeah, that was hyping up Adam as well.
yeah.
So a few things that I'll say here. He was actually played in a Richard Petty's biopic by the same actor who later played Ralphie's dad in A Christmas Story.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
What
and
a-
Richard
what a
Petty
fun fact.
Richard Petty played himself, by the way, in that movie, and he is not a good actor.
He was good in Cars,
Yeah.
but you're stupid.
A few other ones here. Let's see. The one he won while on fire, he had to pit with 2 to go, and fuel covered the entire back of the car and then caught fire. And so he just like basically ran it as fast as he could 2 laps around, burning. He won $25 in the first NASCAR race ever, which is the equivalent of winning $330 today.
I mean,
That could-
I know that wasn't a lot of money back then, but what can $25 get you to help your car at that point?
Nowadays,
Especially
that can
since he
get you-
flipped it.
Nowadays, I can get you a burger and fries from Five Guys.
That is
Barely.
sad.
But Danny with the win. So Danny's up 12-11 over Eric.
I can't believe
I
that.
did get a crucial win because I will be gone next week, so I needed
That's all right. Good for you. Well, I did promise the chat I'm going to try these both at once. I have tried the
that.
Oreos before.
Do you not have a cup to dip it in?
I don't, but I'm going to like bite and then sip like I'm washing down a pill because I
Okay.
imagine that's how good this is going to taste. All
So
right,
it's
Coke Oreo.
medicine. Got it.
I've had the Oreo, the cookie. It's weird.
Out of context, this is the most American thing ever. It's like it's like medicine, you'll just wash it down.
Oh, that looks horrible. That looks horrible.
This is like the aftertaste of an Oreo in liquid form. Oh, there's like Pop Rocks in the cream.
Pop Rocks.
My molars are popping. Can y'all hear that?
No, I don't want to hear
No.
that.
Oh, I'm gonna have another bite.
I hate it. I'm gonna eat more.
Hold on, one more bite, one more sip.
Your poor arteries. Do you know?
Here comes
This
Cosmo.
tastes okay. The cookie. Oh, God, the dog is here. He sees me eating food and is like, "Give me some of those Oreos." The cookie's actually not bad. It's a little weird. The like poppiness is a little strange. The soda is unsettling.
The chat is freaking hilarious.
That's
I
my,
just saw Ross Grastain go diabetes.
Wow.
Is it bad? I think we should get this during your bachelor party and I'll try it.
Oh God. Can I have it with a beer instead? At least if I get drunk, I'll forget I did it.
If I had an empty cup, I would like dip them in each other and see how that goes, but that's okay.
Don't
Maybe next time.
if you don't bring it to Kansas. I don't need to try it.
That's okay. This stays here. I don't know if I like this soda.
God.
At least you only had the little cans and not like a whole lot of it.
Hey, they know in the chat. It's Wilford Brimley. You watch the Craig Ferguson video where he's like, "Yeah, I saw Wilford Brimley cocoon." I'm sorry. Craig Ferguson is the greatest late night host ever. I don't care what anyone says. He was the greatest late night host ever. And I think they got like that one dude that's like a huge asshole that followed him up now. Or it's like one of the forgettable guys that laughs at everything. I don't know. Either way, him and Jeff Peterson, like, oh, go to my place, man. Yeah.
Okay, by the way, Eric, Claudia just sent me a picture of the packaging for the Oreo Coke cookies. If you look at it, it says whiff popping candy underneath Coca-Cola.
Ew.
Oh yeah. Good thing I can't read.
If they could read, their feelings would really be hurt.
Yeah, I missed that, but makes sense now. Now I'm not as scared. It's intentional. It's supposed to feel that way. This has gone off the rails. We're nearing the top of the second hour. Let's talk Kansas. Hold on. Oh gosh. Okay.
Oh gosh.
I think that sip of Oreo Coke was coming back up for a second.
I didn't know if we were going to vomit or burp there.
Nope. We're holding it down, keeping the carbonation at bay. Connor Zilich, we mentioned this earlier, is in the Xfinity Series race. He'll drive the JRM 88, looking to defend his Watkins Glen victory. We'll go in chronological order. The truck race is the Kubota Tractor 200. It's 134 laps. Stage breakdown is 30-30-74. Race is at 8:30 p.m. on Friday. Gosh,
you are struggling.
This is like fizzier than a normal Coke. 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday on FS1 and MRN. Weather looking pretty cool. 64 degrees, 65% chance of rain. Christian Eckes is the defending winner. The Xfinity race is the Kansas Lottery 300. 200 lap race, 45, 110 are the stage breakdowns. It's a 4:00 start on Saturday on the CW. MRN has the radio, 73 degrees with a 45% chance of rain. The weather looking a little better on Sunday for the Hollywood Casino 400. It's a 267 lap race, 80, 85, 102 are the stages. 3 p.m. Eastern Sunday on USA Network. MRN, 75 degrees, some rain early in the day, 36% chance of rain for the whole day, and Tyler Reddick is the defending Cup Series Fall Kansas winner. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for my favorite part of the show, I may have lost Random Driver of the Week. I may be losing the prediction segment, but your boy is no longer losing the NWP pick points. At the top of the board, at long last, after a long grind of a season, I am leading with 440 points. Chat, you are 7 points back. Jarrett is second, minus 15, and Danny is in the basement, 20 points back. Still close. I'll give you all that. It's close, but we have finally broken through to take the lead. Thank you very much. Let's rock and roll. So we have a lot of picks to make tonight. We're going to start with the truck pick. We'll go in reverse order. Danny, who is your pick to win the truck race at Kansas?
I'm going to go with the defending winner, Christian Eckes, on this one.
All right. Then I will go with Heim Time.
All right, chat. You guys get to pick before me this week.
Woo. Yeah, this is weird.
Weird.
It's been a long season, but we've managed to get it to the point that we're finally it's paying off.
Okay, y'all can quit saying 11. That's already gone.
All right. Are they? Wait, am I seeing?
Oh my God, they're going Lane Riggs.
They're going Lane Riggs at an intermediate?
I think Lane Riggs cannot be stopped. Ooh, it's actually kind of tight between Lane and Raja.
Not really.
I'm seeing more 38.
There's some Raja coming in, but it's Lane Riggs, I think.
Holy crap.
I don't know.
Oh, there's a bunch of Rajas all of a sudden.
All right, I'll do a quick poll. You guys, I'm going to put this poll up for be ready because this poll is going to be up for 10 seconds.
I saw some people trying to go with Nick Sanchez, and I thought that was interesting. I thought about him, but I said a Christian Eckes instead.
The question
All
I
right.
have is like, I don't think, no disrespect to Raja, but I don't think either is the greatest pick.
Someone just said
Yeah.
Boyer. He's not running this weekend, is he?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
It's his home track, right? Maybe he is. Late edition. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2. I know there's a delay, so this doesn't matter. 1. And Raja
See,
Karuth
y'all didn't
is.
actually want Lane.
It was close though. It was
That
pretty
was
close.
closer than it should have been.
You guys took Raja. Holy moly! So wait. You guys took Hyman Ekis, right? I still don't love my other 2 picks. I'll take Nick Sanchez. I will take Nick Sanchez. I feel better about that.
I actually had Nick Sanchez, and I crossed him out until I heard Christian Eckes was the winner and said no Eckes.
I'll take Nick Sanchez. So let's go to the Xfinity race. We'll go in the same order. Danny, who wins the Xfinity race at Kansas?
I'm going with Austin Hill.
Ooh. Then I'll go with Justin Allgaier in this one. I think that they have a good turnaround. They usually bring speed to the intermediate track, so I think the 7 will be pretty good. Plus, there's no Cup guys that'll be coming down anymore, I don't think.
Unless you count Eric Almirola, but
Yeah,
no,
but
He's
not
just
a full-time guy.
He's just, as a song is, free to do what he wants.
Chat, I think they might be
It's
going
Custer.
Cole Custer.
Yeah, pretty overwhelmingly Custard.
that was my number 2 pick.
All right, I'll go, or they'll take Cole Custer. Oh man, so I got to make some edits here. Am I gonna do it? I think I'm gonna do it. Sheldon Creed.
Guaranteed for second. Good job, Eric.
Yep, I'll take it.
I really
Just-
thought
just-
for a second.
I'm
you were
playing
gonna-
defense here. I don't need to win everything. I just can't have a guy wreck and finish last. You know what I mean? I'm playing defense.
I really thought for a second you were going to be like Zillich. I'm like, what the hell, man?
No. Not 2 weeks in a row.
Like you just got the lead, Eric. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Keep it close.
Let's move on to the Cup race. We'll start with who's gonna suck in the Cup race at Kansas. Danny, who you got?
On his way out, Daniel Suarez.
We're doing like TV show jingles. What is this?
I don't have one. It's MTJ.
Chat. I guess I can just say mine because we're not going in order for this. I'll go Austin Cindric. Picking from the. Oh, I'm sorry. Austin Cindric.
Yeah.
Going to wreck.
They're picking Justin. No, that's not Justin Haley. They're picking Corla Joy.
Oh no! Come on, y'all. Not in his first
So I'm
race
picking-
with Rick Ware.
Wait, is Jimmy racing?
Oh yeah, he is.
Choose
Yeah,
wisely.
I'm saying 51 more than anything else. So
I should have mentioned that. I forgot to mention the Jimmy's racing. Yeah. Okay. Dark horse, Danny, for the Cup race.
I said I'll get a top 10. Carry the momentum. Alex Bowman.
It's a good one.
I'm gonna go with somebody who I think will be a lot faster in their second go round here. Was up front at the end of last year's race. After what we've talked to with some of the insiders, they're pretty good at the second time to come to tracks. I'm gonna go Eric Jones.
Oh, that's an interesting pick. That's spicy.
Spicy.
I'll go Bubba Wallace. Obviously, really good at Kansas. Historically, that team is really good run at Bristol. And before getting bounced out of the playoffs or out of playoff contention, he was coming hard late in the summer. So I will go Bubba. Chat is going. I guess it doesn't really matter. I do see some Bubbas, some hosts of ours.
I think
Who's
he
in the
owns
16
23.
this week? Is SVG in the 6? No, Ty Dillon's in the 16 this week, I think.
Give him Ty Dillon.
No, they're not. I mean, maybe they're just getting him out of the way so they don't pick him to win on accident.
Actually, I think I've seen a lot of 48s.
Yeah, there was a lot of Bowmans. Yeah, there's a lot of Bowmans. You can give them Bowman. Well, they might want to pick Bowman to win. I'll give him. Give him.
It's either
All right.
Dillon or Bowman, so I give him Bowman.
I did just see there's a lot of 16s. I'll just give them Ty Dillon. It doesn't matter. I don't want to mess up their win pick. All right, who's gonna win the Hollywood Casino 400? Danny, drop it.
This is the hardest I've ever had to pick one. No, it's not. It's Kyle Larson.
God damn it.
That was like the only name I wrote down.
I think that this guy will be pretty good. He's always pretty good here, and I think he'll be racing right there with Kyle Larson. That's Dennis Hamlin.
All right, chat. Big moment. Who you guys got?
I think I've seen a Denny Hamlin win every single year since 2019.
He's due. There you
They-
go.
No,
they-
I've been in person to see it like every year.
They want
Every
Tyler
year.
Reddick.
Yeah, they're taking Tyler Reddick, which is a solid pick, I would say, although he's had a couple of weird weeks in a row. Can they get back on track?
But
Surprisingly slow in the spring.
But that car historically has been great here.
Exactly. But that leaves my third pick. Yes. Christopher Bell.
It's a solid lineup from all four of us here.
I agree. This could be like a sneaky championship 4 lineup.
Oh, this is kind of cool. Eric's win picks go 2018 2. You know,
Oh, they add up to 20. 18 and 2 is 20.
yeah. Or
Yeah,
if you subtract them, they go down to 2. That's pretty cool.
Add them all together, he's got 40.
Let's see what the others here.
You
Oh
multiply
man,
them, it's
if I would have picked Josh Williams, I would have had a clean sweep of 11.
You don't want to
yeah.
pick Josh Williams.
No, I don't want to pick Josh
Dude,
Williams.
for the memes. Come on, Jarrett. 11, 11, 11.
I should have just picked him as like a dark horse or suck pick or something. I don't know.
Man, it was just such a good story when he got that ride, but that's all it ever was.
He's got it for next year too, though. Can they bounce back?
Oh wait,
No,
did he
but-
get confirmed? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's going to be in there next year for another
I'm
year.
shocked.
Shocked, I tell you.
He must have sold a lot of T-shirts. I don't know.
Do this enough.
Every time he does this, it's like when they drop the fastest Xfinity internet. It's like $1,000. He just gets
It's like do this. Oh, I can't get rid of you. Come here, you.
Every time a bell rings, Josh Williams does a heart.
Thank you, chat, for voting in for the pick points. Good luck. You're gonna need it this week. I feel pretty good about my lineup. I feel great. Who did I pick again? I already forgot all of my picks.
I mean, other than Austin Hill, who I think I'm being risky with, I think I feel pretty good about mine too.
I had Nick Sanchez, some guy in the Xfinity race. Oh, Creed, that
some
guy.
Just some guy who finishes second.
And C Bell. I feel good. Y'all are in trouble, chat. It's about to be a blowout.
Creed blows an engine right off the bat.
TBGR says our collapse should be studied.
Long way to go. Long way to go. But yeah, indeed, it should. I'm dunking on the chat right now, and it's probably not a great segue into the super chat stage break because now I need to thank the chat.
Didn't we just say last week you do not want to be the leader at this time?
No, I don't want to be the leader until after Talladega.
I was going to say, what is this? Talladega? Oh, don't want to be the leader on the last time. Give me the lead. Let me take over. I'm going to dominate. I don't care if I pick fourth. It's y'all are cooked.
Like, you know how these last few until last week, I was like slowly coming up. I was like 30, then 27, then 25, 20, 11. That's how I'm going to try to be until I get to Phoenix. And okay, boom, there I go.
That's the thing is though, Danny is close enough that if we get to Phoenix and the points are like this, Danny could still win from fourth to first in 1 week. It's not it's not even that crazy.
I think it's like the most we could make up in a week is like 31 or 38 or something.
Honestly, going into Phoenix, being third or fourth could be very beneficial to just have who you think is the number one pick to win the championship.
Good point. Actually, that's not a bad point that Danny just made. What you want to be is you want to be fourth. Whoops. You want to be fourth, but only like 5 points behind the leader. You want to be like a tie.
Last week, I was fourth, 11 points back. That's what you want right there.
Yeah, that's what he needs at Phoenix. I agree. Well, that's not how it's working out, at least so far. You guys don't realize how much this means to me, chat. I've been second 3 years in a row. This is the year.
Everyone, welcome Sheldon Creed to the show today.
It's going to be so funny if me or Danny snipes you right at the end. It's like Jarrett comes in fourth. It's like, don't know about that.
Don't put that evil on me. Thank you guys for leaving your super chats tonight. A few to react to here before we wrap things up. David Bell, always good to see David. Richmond was a wild race. We should have brought those option tires for fun. We will at least have some form of the option tires at Martinsville, but I agree. Anything could have been done to Bristol to make it better. Ben Lewis, thank you for the super chat. As a racing fan, NASCAR failed themselves with its racing roots with short tracks being so bad with the next gen. I'm also worried IndyCar is going to fall into the same trap with their new charter agreement. Yeah, we've seen the charter agreement is good in many ways, adds value to the teams where there previously was none, but it can lead to some sticky negotiations. And I don't know, Roger Penske now owns IndyCar. Tough guy maybe to negotiate with. Similar maybe in some ways, kind of cut from a similar cloth perhaps as the France family. I guess I don't know for sure. I've never negotiated with the Frances or with the Penskes, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes for IndyCar. I'm just glad that guaranteed spots into the Indy 500 did not become a thing. I'm glad that was left on the cutting room floor. Grid flow. Do you think we need to put the dirt back on Bristol? No, I guess not. Although I didn't hate it, but no, probably
I
not.
had fun with it.
Larso says, has Elliott ever dominated a race like Larson? Not on an oval, I don't think, but maybe on some road courses back in his Watkins Glen during his Watkins Glen reign, or his Roval. He had went back to back at the Roval, although I don't think he dominated either race per se.
I don't
Someone help me
remember.
out. I know there's some big Chase Elliott fans. Can you guys name a cup race that Chase Elliott dominated besides maybe a couple of road courses? Um, Watkins Glen 2019. Yep. There you go. Thank you, Peter.
Well, technically, that Roble race where he smashed into the wall and still won, he pretty much dominated in that sense
Well,
too.
but that's what I was thinking is like he was put behind and had to really work for it. It wasn't just clean air cruising. Oh yeah, Bristol All-Star race. That's true. He did dominate
Ugh.
that. That was probably the second worst Bristol race I've seen.
Ugh.
Anyway, SK Abals, thank you for the super chat. Hendrick led 99.2% of the laps. There's your math for you, Jarrett. You were trying to calculate in real time earlier.
That's
Um,
close.
yeah, pretty close. You're in the ballpark. Justin M. Drake says, just got to my practice, but I left college Friday in New York, drove to Bristol for the cup race, and then was home by mid-afternoon Sunday. Briscoe was thumbs up. I don't know if they meant Bristol or Briscoe. Chase Briscoe was good as well. But that's good. I hope you had a good time, Justin. Glad you made it to and from home safely. Hope to see you at the track sometime. Retro Rich, thanks for the 2. Bring back Chicagoland Speedway or I'll cry.
I'm with you. Well, not in the crying part, but I'm with you.
See,
Shed a tear.
Jared has just cried enough. He can't cry anymore.
I'm like the crying Indian commercial. Just one
Troy
single tear going down at the sunset.
Girk asks, have they tried groove tires? Denny mentioned it on his podcast, but I don't remember hearing that they did try it. They've talked about them. I thought they did test them somewhere, but they haven't run them in a race outside of obviously like rainy conditions. Those are a form, I guess, of groove tires. We'll see. I think there's potential there, but I don't know. At this point, can we trust Goodyear to build a reliable tire that we can count on to produce the racing we want it to produce? I don't know that we really can, at least not consistently, but I'm up for anything. Ross Crashtain says, boo Dawson. Ty Dillon is the GOAT.
Dawson's awesome.
I was waiting for a comment like that. We have some very loyal Ty Dillon supporters here.
Why?
Well, Garabuki here sends a 5 and says, Ty Dillon's coming back to Cup. Well, just think on the bright side, chat. Your favorite driver is guaranteed an extra spot up the leaderboard. That's tough. And that one got 6 thumbs up. People were liking that one. It even got some replies. People were like, here.
So mean.
Nash Carson 2414. Hey NWP guys, Bristol trucks, great race with Riggs winning. Xfinity, poor Junior Motorsports and Creed Cup, most boring race ever. I only paid attention through stage 1 and the last 10 laps. Well, at least you're honest, Nash Carson. And then also they ask anyone other than Iceberg going to the Cup race on September 29th. That's this weekend, right? I'll be there. Anybody else? David Bell, Eric Taylor Cool get a hold of you for an interview. I have not. I don't think I've gotten reached out to. But potentially be up for that if I can find some room in my schedule these weeks. Playoffs have been busy. But thanks for the message, David. Alessandro Sebastian says, this past Saturday, I was sitting on my couch watching the Cup Bristol race like most people, and somehow even I managed to pass the 66 Arby's car. Also, Jared, good luck to you on your Kansas trip. Yes, Jared, hope you have safe travels. You're driving, I assume, to Kansas.
So
That's not a terrible drive, is it? Or how bad is that?
Well, so I'm leaving in about 8 hours to go up to Des Moines first tomorrow.
It's a pit stop, a little out of the way.
Yeah, visiting a friend up there, and then I'll drive about 3 hours south down to Kansas. For first the hotel, because I'm meeting up. Me and my dad always go every year. First the hotel, and then from there to the track, which doubleheader action, baby, doubleheader action.
Should be fun. Final super chat of the night comes from Bailey. They began the night with a couple super chats, and now we'll end with our final super chat. Who remembers that time Tony Stewart was going to do an Xfinity race a couple years ago? Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
The Indy road course.
I think it was going to be Indy, yeah.
And then COVID happened.
It's like,
That's right. It was COVID ended. I was like, what caused that to go away? Yeah, it must have been COVID.
just
Makes
reminds
sense.
me of a scene in Jurassic Park where the kid's talking to Alan Grant. It's like, you liked dinosaurs back then. It's like a kid talking to Stuart now. You liked NASCAR back then.
Well, then I discovered drag cars go faster for a shorter time.
Then I discovered Leah Pruitt.
You'll understand when you're older, son.
I understand now.
I mean, in all honesty, at the eight, well, if John Force can do it for as long as he has done it, then I'm not so surprised. But the fact that Tony is as old as he is and is seemingly still going at those speeds and having seemingly no problem with it is pretty impressive.
You think that Tony's picked up on John Force's internet habits too, like he talked about that one time?
Probably not if he's got Leah Pruitt.
Yeah, fair point.
On that note, thank you all for tuning in. We had a wonderful time chatting NASCAR with you all, playing some fun games. I'm excited for the final 7 races of the season. Folks, if you haven't already, subscribe to @DannyB Talks, subscribe to @DannyB Trains. I should probably put that link in the chat as well, or in the description as well. And of course, subscribe to The Iceberg. Next week's show, correct, is on The Iceberg. That should be a fun time. We will see you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time on The Iceberg's channel. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Thank you to those who send in super chats. We really do appreciate the support. If you're coming to Kansas, keep a lookout for me or Jarrett or Jarrett. We will be out and about all weekend long. Have a fantastic rest of your evening, folks. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye.
Drivers, start your engine!